All
from
right,
each other. So it's helpful to us, to the city planning commission, to the city council, to hear kind of your reasoning for whatever decision you make on each proposal. But you're not obligated to, use this form. But we found it helpful or folks have found it helpful, so.
okay, before we continue, we just want to let people know that this is being recorded, and if it's needed in the future to be foiled, everything can be,
Foiled.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. We need to announce the meeting.
Meeting, today is, the meeting for land use, June 12th, for the city of Yes, for discussion.
Housing.
Housing opportunity. Thank you.
It's a chat. People don't see the phone. Okay. According to their main website, there are 7 different proposals. The first one is universal affordability preference, what they keep referring to as the UAP. All right, and you're checking that off.
No, just making sure.
I brought some extra handouts.
This is, I don't,
So this,
to do this. I don't need him to do
And
this.
so this clarifies
I don't
very,
need him,
very.
look, he's repeating, I
No.
don't need,
So
did he
what I
plan,
have
we're
that-
not gonna be up for 5
So the
hours.
Q and As were sent today, but I put this together for CB 13 to very clearly show where something's applicable and exactly what the changes would be in those areas. So if you want to get into the nitty gritty specific numbers, it's just right here.
Lovely. It's good to have.
Can you pass me one of those?
20% affordable
Feel free to
housing.
take ones. That's one.
60% affordable
It's
housing.
not 60%, it's 60% median income, not 60% of affordable housing.
Their website said 60.
60% of median income.
And median income is set by state, it's not median.
I know, it's not just the state, it's Connecticut,
Federal.
New Jersey.
It's federal. So for 60% of median income, we are talking about it's 70+ thousand per year. I don't know how it applies to entire Coney Island or even to
I
Brighton,
know,
whatever.
I did a study, I did a homework how it applies to Coney Island. If you're interested, I can tell you that median of family household income in Coney Island is 44,000. The poverty, the 25% of Coney Islanders makes less than 20,000. 25% live.
I'm sorry, did
below-
you say less than what? I didn't hear you.
I'm saying the median, we're talking about affordability, that we have.
No, I just didn't hear the income, I'm sorry.
Income, median family income in Coney Island, 44,000,
Thank you.
median family.
Hmm.
25% makes less than 20,000. 25% living below poverty line, citywide 18%. So, 40% of households are severely rent burdened. Like 40% of Coney Island. So what is affordable for everybody else?
It's
It's
not
not about, if we build affordable units, daughters and granddaughters of Coney Islanders are not moving into that. It's not for them, they can't afford it.
Okay,
So,
Which was brought up, you weren't here last time, but, remember the woman sitting there said her daughter couldn't get an apartment because they
Yeah,
wanted
because,
$65,000 a year?
yeah, because if
So-
you open Housing Connect, okay, that's being called affordable, okay? Somebody without taking some pills before would get a heart attack, what they call affordable. Marion, I'm really sorry to interrupt. I want to clarify something. In my opinion, one size.
Connect to your
all
charger
doesn't
for
work.
2 minutes. Okay.
Okay, when we are talking about a citywide proposal, meaning one size fits all is, it's not working.
Yeah, but they.
Wait. I'm sorry, I did my homework as well,
Still don't know.
okay, okay. So today, we got comments from neighboring community board 15, okay? They're not the only one, the only comment we have in common, even though it's a neighboring board. The only comment we have in common, it's a parking requirement. Yes or no? Okay. All of their comments are about low density, R1, R3. I wanna ask everybody a question. What kind of zoning we have within community board 13? What kind of zoning we have within community board 13?
It's still R5, R5, R6.
Okay, yeah.
And a lot of.
No,
C7s
we
here.
don't. We don't. No, we don't. I printed
Okay.
all maps, okay? We have R3-1 in Seagate,
Right, yeah.
okay? We have R3-1 in Seagate. We have R6 in Brighton, except Oceana Building, it's R7, okay? We have R7, R7X, and R7 something in Coney Island, okay? And we have R5.
And R8.
Yeah, and we have R5. So it's actually the only low density part of community board 13, it's Seagate. Middle density part of community board 13, it's those houses between Mermaid and Bayview and Neptune, that's we have R5. So I'm pretty sure that whatever is applies, whatever applies to and whatever is important for our neighboring community board, it's not really important for us, okay? That's how I see it, correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, you have to add the other part in Gravesend, which has a lot of high buildings. with
No,
those.
It's
That's
high,
part of CB thirteen,
Wait a minute.
Elena.
I said about zoning, I'm not talking about neighborhood, I gave an example. I
Okay.
know each and every zoning in community board 13 because I printed them, okay?
Okay.
We can make as many comments, and I'm not gonna say word after this. We can make as many comments as we want. We can talk about affordability, we can talk about FAR, we can talk about height, we can talk about this communal units and on and on. Some provisions do not apply to us at all, okay? But first and foremost, what make us different from any other neighborhood, even in Brooklyn? We are flat zone except Gravesend, like you said, with mandatory evacuation. And I spoke to Ina Vernikov office, I spoke to Justin Brennan to Chris. So, and Justin Brennan came to the public meeting in Community Board 10, and he says, as of now, he's solid no. He gave an example about the previous text, economical text, that so many modifications were made. When it comes to commercial zones, it's completely different. It's completely different because commercial zones are almost the same when we are talking about commercial corridors. So if C1 zone in Brooklyn permits certain types of businesses, the same types of businesses are permitted in Bronx, okay? In our city, we are talking about housing. And I do know, I'm pretty sure that Community Board 10 will submit its recommendation and concerns. But Community Board 10, it's it's not a high density area in many cases. So again, we can talk about whatever we want to talk, okay? But first and foremost, we have to demand from our elected officials that flood zone with mandatory evacuation should be excluded from this proposal. And we have an example, it's doable. Because a few years ago, 5 or 6, Mayor de Blasio came with mandatory inclusionary housing, if everyone remembers. And even though some people complain about overdevelopment in Coney Island because of because of rezoning of 2009, that's not true. Yet, rezoning of 2009 made possible to build. But after it was rezoned, this community board was presented with 4 or 5 ULOPs. Am I right, Eddie? All of them, we voted down. But for some reasons, local councilmen pushed it in City Hall. So after that, mandatory inclusionary housing came. And this is what we see now. According to data, Angela did research, and I trust her 100% because I know she's knowledgeable and know how to research. The number of residents in Coney Island for the last 10 years doubled. You don't have anything in this proposal about evacuation, about an infrastructure update, about schools, about transportation, nothing. What are we talking about? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, how many people in the community board on the committee read the EIS? See any hands?
I read the summary Ida sent me.
Okay, you
I
read
did
some,
a short
okay,
summary.
some of the things that was said in the summary is first and foremost, it is a blanket EIS. Although it mentions the possibility of additional EISs, which will be supplemental, it looks like once the city of Yes is adopted, it will make it less likely that additional EIS will be required, okay? The EIS only looks at what is called prototypical areas. Familiar with that? Okay. The closest one they use to us is Sheepshead Bay. The only thing that Brighton and Coney has in common with Sheepshead Bay is that you can see the water. That's it. Okay? We are very, very different geographically and demographically and in terms of existing housing stock, okay? Okay. We are in a flood zone, like Elena said. Sandy was not the first time we had storm surge flooding. In Coney, they get blue sky flooding with king tides back up into the stormwater outfalls. Certain blocks always flood if a heavy rain comes in on a moon tide. The only way to resolve this is to raise the outfalls and install pumping stations, a multi-billion-dollar project. This goes into what Ida calls pigs will fly, okay? Because it's not gonna be done. It has to be done along the Coney Island Creek and out in other areas too, in Sheepshead Bay too, okay? So the city of Yes believes that the solution to increase lot coverage and decrease groundwater infiltration is retention basins. But the water table throughout Brighton and Coney is very, very high. During storm surge events, building floods not only from the streets, but from hydrostatic pressure. The water table rises and the flooding comes up through their foundations. So basically what has to be done before you even consider this type of policy, okay, is to fix the infrastructure. Otherwise, we're gonna be flooded out, basically flooded out with more density. Like we can't hold it anymore. That's it.
All right.
Are we going,
No, I would like to give them something and that's it.
right, okay.
All right, because we do realize that no matter what we say, it doesn't matter.
That's not true. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
All right.
I don't
I-
like when you guys say
I
that
don't
because
understand.
sorry, that's not true. Because if you compare the previous text, economical text, presented by the city, an economical text that would be or was voted by city council. I missed I don't know if it was a stated meeting on it. I know for sure zoning committee voted and land use committee voted on it. You cannot even compare it. And
Alright.
and many of our recommendations were included. And people from this part of Brooklyn, not only us, but Community Board 15, Community Board 10, they were talking about saving C1 and C2 zones, and it was safe,
Yeah.
okay?
Okay.
We were talking about size of this whole so-called home-based businesses, and it was reduced. We were talking about not having enough enforcement because we were told when we discussed casino tax, gambling tax amendment, and when we discussed this economical tax, we were told when we asked who's gonna enforce it, we were told DOB. But you and I, everyone knows they do not have enough inspectors. So in modified text, it even has a line how much money should be allocated to DOB to have you know.
Okay, then they're gonna look at this. Are you
Okay,
gonna write a whole answer to all of this?
I wanna write one and only answer, two actually, okay, two. One and only,
I think.
one and only answer. Flood zone with mandatory evacuation should be excluded from the proposal due to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can have a list. Second, it's impossible to live in this city, okay, with all parking requirements to be lifted. They can modify them, for example, because when it comes to low density and on, some modifications can be done. But not to mandate parking requirements, it's a crime, okay? It's a crime. Because we live in a city that even though they promote public transportation, but there is no law, city or state, that you and I, or Michael, or anybody else, we are prohibited to have to use our cars. And people drive not only shopping, people drive to work in order to put bread and butter on their table. So it's kind of discriminating working families when we are talking about parking. Because this proposal, it's nothing but very well written manifesto. I don't want to even go into affordable housing. I already said few words. It's not going to be affordable. I have nothing against development. Whoever knows me for years, I always said I am for development, smart one. I don't want to preserve something that should not be preserved, okay? Like I did not want to preserve bungalow area because it's nothing to be preserved there. But we need smart kind of development, not kind of proposal that would benefit developers only.
Angela.
We're
And
both
it's a
together. on this.
general, right, it's like a general statement. I agree about flood zone. That's very, very major point. But let's say hypothetically speaking, the sea level drops and we can build. And we build, we have, because we're saying saturation of units will bring the price of units down. Well, it didn't bring in Coney Island. You're saying that by your program, 1 unit will be built per year, per acre in 15 years. So Coney Island already reached the quote for 100 years. We built so many new units, which is not affordable by Coney Islanders because it's not a price for Coney Island. 25% below poverty line, that's not for us. It's not for this area. I would like to say, why won't we focus more on home buying affordability? Why don't let people help to cover this gap? So you're saying the missing middle, right? Okay, so we have a poverty and how you get out of this poverty. You have to need some help when you invest in yourself. You invest in your future, you buy. There is something for you, for your family to live with. So there is a hope. So you invest in it, your kids will inherit it. And you already settled in the area. Because right now what we have, the people who live here for third generation, they can't afford 60% affordability. It's not for them. They making 44,000. Like they hardly can pay what they have right now. So programs that help become homeowner will be great. And then NYCHA, right? We talk about NYCHA selling air
Not
rights.
in our area, not flood zones.
Wait, NYCHA selling air rights to afford their repairs or to whatever they need to afford if they want. That's a great program. Except that you saying they can sell air rights to the floodplains. But can they sell from the floodplains?
I believe so. I can clarify on that.
So means the NYCHA can build, NYCHA can do infill campuses because it's floodplains. But anybody else can? That's my question. That's kind of strange. And if they can they sell rights to Gravesend And they can build there and nothing built here, that's kind of not clear to me. And another thing, I would think that for Niger, it's up to Tenants Association to decide what they're doing, but it will be great to have the clearance what they can and what they can do in the platform.
Get that? Yeah.
Yeah, and transportation, no parking. Great idea, maybe for Manhattan, when you have a lot of options. We don't have a lot of options here. There are some places where they have like a one bus line. We have a subway. God forbid something with the subway or it's under repair, that's it. We cut off of any traffic. So the cars are the only means of transportation here. So I'm totally against excluding parking requirements. We can minimize them somewhere with the proximity to the subway, but not exclude it altogether. That's all.
Thank you.
Maybe anybody on Zoom or?
Think Zanera had her hand up.
Did she?
I mean, yourself.
Zanera?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm unmuted. Hi, everyone. Good evening. I had raised my hand. I think there was a comment earlier where someone was like, oh, it just, the commentary or the feedback doesn't matter. And I just raised my hand during that point because our office definitely wants to hear your feedback on the proposal and what you think. As Yelena mentioned with the past proposal, Councilman Brannan went and relayed this community feedback and was able to make the changes. So always make sure to send us that feedback. It's really important. And I appreciate listening to the conversation.
I'll also
Let's
add
begin.
quickly, I'll also add quickly. The Department of City Planning, Community Board of 13 are going to exist and be in a relationship far after all deliberations on this proposal. So whether you like this part of it or hate this part of it, any additional explanation helps us be better partners to you in the future as well. So yes, it's important for amending this proposal as you see fit, as we saw with zoning for economic opportunity. But it's also helpful for us to have more information from you, in addition to all the, documents we get, the statement of needs, things like that, to know how we can better support you in the future.
All right, so we've spent.
We have somebody
who else?
Anna? And,
Who's that?
And Valdez,
yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
unmute yourself.
you're muted.
Give it a second, sometimes it lags.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'm picking up from what Yelena said and from what Angela was saying when it comes to the issue of public housing. NYCHA is coming up with all different strategies and falling behind the idea that if we do this or we do that, we're gonna raise money, we're gonna repair. It's all nonsense. This idea of infill was put out several years ago, about 10 years ago. They had this idea, well, we're gonna sell parts of the land or rent out parts of the land, and we're gonna make money, and this is gonna be the money that's gonna do the repairs. It has not worked, all right? These are all ideas that are gonna push the residents of public housing more and more into homelessness and disadvantage. And the idea of the city of yes, pushing into these issues and thinking that it would be okay to do these things is totally wrong, all right? I believe that when it comes to issues like that, more notification needs to go out to the residents of public housing so they know how to fight back and what exactly is being done. I appreciate everyone who spoke on behalf saying that we don't live in the same type of community as District 10, which is true. We live in a community that is slowly sinking. Nobody's really taking that into consideration. And I just think that we need to really speak up more and know, I guess also to let our elected officials know that we're not having it. Their ideas are not going to be beneficial to the entire district, Community 13. It's going to be basically for the developers and those who are trying to make money in every other way. Thank you.
Okay, I will add something. Can I answer her first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I read a lot of stuff the last couple of days, and one of the things I remember reading is that City planning is gonna work very closely with the tenant associations to find out what they're looking for of the NYCHA housing. They're
That
not
doesn't help.
disregarding them.
That doesn't help. They shouldn't speak to the tenant associations because some of these tenant associations are hearing things and being sold a bunch of dreams. They should speak to the tenants. How about they send out some type of information to each individual tenant, the same way as they collect rent from each individual tenant, send out notification to them and ask them their opinion.
Yes, she knows what she's
No,
talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's
Yeah,
right. More
Because if
communication.
somebody wants to talk to tenants association and find out what are the needs of NYCHA tenants, they should have done it before coming
Yeah,
with the
how
flag.
many tenants association members were
No.
invited to discuss this?
Nobody,
Anybody discuss it with an eye?
absolutely not.
Okay, okay,
Lucy.
Lucy,
I'm listening and I'm quiet tonight, so it's a
let's-
pleasure to do that once in a while. I just want to ditto, mazel tov or whatever, however you say, congratulate, I don't know what I'm saying. I completely agree with Elena. Just want to me, and I totally forgot, I had something in my head about Housing Connect, which is the most horrible program within the world, because and many people don't even qualify for it. I don't care how low you do it. But I just want to speak about the parking. It's citywide, and if I heard this proposal more than 5 times, one of the things that they kept saying was many people don't utilize the parking. So that's the reasoning that they feel it's not necessary. Well, you know what? Congestion pricing right now is on hold, but people do drive. And people are gonna need parking spots, and people are not gonna be able to move their cars if they have a car. So the parking for me is a big issue citywide. Parking lots in Manhattan, and like I said, citywide, if you're lucky, you'll get a monthly spot for $1,000 a month. If you're lucky, you get that.
lucky, yeah.
So for people to not have parking in their own facility is a no-no. And here, it's a tragedy. I can't even start with what we do it, but so for me, the biggest thing is the parking. But there was something I can't remember that I had on Housing Connect, but I want to thank you, Yelena and Angela, for speaking about the flood zone area. No one thought about that. I mean, maybe people did in their minds, but that is one of the greatest things that you guys place on this table, that we should be excluded, or any flood zone area should be excluded, because again, we're talking about citywide. And I agree with you with that, so thank you.
Okay, I wanna add, if you don't mind about parking. Your proposal says that, it's gonna benefit it's gonna benefit New Yorkers because instead of parking, whatever number of units can be made. Again, it does not apply to us. We are flat mandatory evacuation zone. So in our zone, whatever is being built, parking, it's a ground floor. So instead of parking, you cannot build even one apartment in our area because it's not permitted. It's not permitted. So it's not gonna benefit us at all, okay? It's not. Again, whatever.
May I clarify?
Sure.
Yeah, so I hear what you're saying, because you saw that diagram. I think we're talking about the same one,
Yeah.
which said one unit is
No,
roughly.
it's
the size.
not on the diagram, it's written. I
Yeah.
read 104,000 pages myself,
I-
so I'm not looking at pictures
All in
on
the
that.
back.
I believe you, I believe
Okay.
you, I'm not disregarding that. We don't necessarily anticipate, that was meant as kind of just an example of, or an illustration of a choice, right? And so we don't anticipate that what is a parking space now will be removed and then turned into a unit, right? A lot of parking is below grade, right? That's not where units are gonna go. But I think that illustration is basically saying, if we're gonna choose to put, heads in beds and house people versus housing humans, that's kind of where our reasoning was. Again, understood your point, and we hope to hear more in the recommendation, because that helps inform.
Again,
Let's do
I did
that.
not look at I do not, my opinion has nothing to do with the diagram and the picture, okay? I read 1,400 page, okay? So when it comes to parking, it's not only the picture or diagram, It's a lot of work about how expensive it makes apartments more expensive and on and on and on and on. But Lucy just said that in order to get monthly spot in Manhattan, it's $1,000. Some parts of
That's the minimum.
some parts of Brooklyn, close to us, they charge $500 or $600 per month. So the number you have in your proposal,
Take it away
about
from
300
outlets, and
something
then they
per
gotta add
month
that to the
average,
expense.
you know what? Instead of paying 500 per month, and you have to schlep back and forth after you park, people prefer to pay for parking. We are all different people. And I understand we need more spaces. I understand we need more housing. But again, I want to repeat again what I said during the community board meeting. We do not have infrastructure to increase number of units. Okay, we do not. We have areas with 6 inches pipes. So instead of making study first and say even in environmental study, how many miles of pipes you should change before. Some work was done on Third Avenue in order to build those high rises, but it did not help Mermaid, it did not help Neptune. We are being flooded. The high water table is very high there, here. Again, not even one word about schools, not even one word about medical facilities, nothing. Housing. When they're talking about Coney Island, what? It's gonna be requirement to apply for an apartment in Coney Island or somewhere else without, it should be family without kids? No, it's gonna be discrimination, you know? I'm not even talking about communal. I'm not talking about making this yards for low density less. So if I'm not even talking about planting requirement. In some areas it's 50%, in some areas it's 20%. Your proposal says it's gonna be unified. What's gonna be unified, 10% or 50%? So by getting rid of trees and grass, you're not helping, you're not helping us. You're not helping, because why do we need trees? Not only to have shade, okay? It absorbs water.
One tree absorbs 1,000 gallons of water a year. Just one tree.
Okay, so let's work on the motion recommendations.
Let's
Let's
we
focus
give
on
them
this.
something.
Yeah,
Why, we are
Alright.
not giving today's anything
well, I thought that.
to them. We are giving to us,
To
and
us.
it's gonna be presented to community board. If community board members wanna add something. So after
Right.
that, after
At
June
the-
26th, it's gonna be given to them.
Correct.
Right, but
Let-
we
let's
have to
begin.
present something, all
Yeah,
right?
let's-
So the first thing is low density, town-centered zoning.
So,
This we had, all right. We discussed, Sam and I discussed this, and we're concerned about a couple of things, all right? About the ground floor commercial with the 2 to 4 stories of housing above it.
But we have it. We have it in Mermaid, we
already
have it in Brighton, we already have it. If we are if we are talking about not 2 stories we have currently, but adding some storage, again. Let's talk about parking, let's talk about infrastructure, let's talk about,
the
so,
only thing I see where it apply maybe new housing will be on the Stillwell, this commercial zone, a little commercial corridor. If
Stillwell Alley?
they want.
They're
Stillwell
building a
Avenue.
lot there,
Hmm?
still they're building.
Right, so if they want to add residential on top of commercial, that's will help them. But I think the law of mixed-use buildings exist. And they can use it, they apply. I mean, zoning allows mixed-use building right now. So I see no problem. What's wrong with those laws? They
because they wanna
talking about
build more,
fire
okay,
rating,
because it's all connected.
but it's all about safety of residential. That's
Okay.
why mixed use has the regulations. They can remove this regulation. They're saying, let's reintroduce it. Okay, well, I don't know, maybe some devil in details. I don't know. They didn't read all the details. But it exists, the law exists, mixed use exists, and I don't see anything new.
It's
that's being
additional
proposed.
flooring, additional units. This is all about additional units. That's it.
2 to 4 stories house and above. That's normal in New York.
Okay, we have it, but
Okay.
it's all, so we do
I
not,
don't see how does it apply to us.
it
We
doesn't
already have-
apply to
All right,
us.
so we have it, so,
Okay, so number,
so number
number
one
2.
doesn't apply.
we don't. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I apologize. I don't want to interject. When you say it doesn't apply, what do you mean?
We already, it's
We already
already
have it.
grandfather, we have it already. Our commercial corridors
Oh, I.
being built in 1920s, 30s, they already have.
Mixed use.
residential
We already
mixed
have
use.
mixed use.
They already have.
Okay,
it.
talking about-
Right, so it's above one.
Okay,
So it's right here.
that's what I said, Michael.
So on what I've printed out, I hope folks got a copy of this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So these are basically very clearly show what the regulations are now and what they would be in the future. So mixed use buildings already exist, absolutely.
We won't increase
Our
by
idea is
20%.
that we want to allow buildings that, to your point, already exist to be built today. Right? Many of them, like you say, are grandfathered in, and so we see no reason not to allow them.
You want to increase that FAR, am I correct?
Pardon?
You want to increase that?
Height and FAR.
It's right here.
The height and FAR.
FARs, base heights, max heights, yeah.
So it's only have more FAR,
These are, yeah,
More units,
any low density zoning district with a commercial overlay. So wherever it's red on that map, in those, again, not. a-
Okay, I would say yes, but not in the flood zone. If it's like north portion of commercial corridor is not in flood zone.
okay, Brighton, it's R6.
No, all
Wait.
this. is
Brighton,
all-
it's R6. Mermaid Avenue, it's R5, and they have these mixed use buildings, if we are talking from, if we are going from Steelville toward West Torrey,
Mhm.
37th Street, or they have those attached houses or they look like townhouses, some of them. Or also Neptune is almost the same. We don't have, Neptune, we do not have mixed use. They maybe 5 or 6 buildings only in the beginning of Neptune between west. But for example, we have a plaza on Neptune and West 12. So what they're
Commercial,
saying,
yeah.
it's 1-story plaza. What they're saying, whoever comes
And
is
fill
going
up,
to be built up 3 or 4.
but not in the flood zone. What I'm saying, yes, to the area that is not in the flood zone.
Just to clarify, this is, the proposal we're talking about is
Yeah.
the applicable to only the red here. I'm just saying because you're.
So what I'm saying, so our flood zone is about like this.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I just wanted to
This
make sure we
portion-
were on the
this-
same page.
This portion,
Yeah,
probably.
it's
I don't-
Neptune
this-
Avenue in some.
This,
Not
probably
right
this
on-
corner will apply.
No, that's fine.
Um,
The only reason I
Yeah,
interjected
that's
was
true.
because you were
That's
pointing
what
there
they're-
and this
yeah,
is the
okay.
proposal. you're
Flooded.
talking about.
Okay, we all plot.
Just a question, for R6 narrow, you're going from 2.2 FAR to 3.9, is that a typo, or that's what you want?
No, that's what we're doing.
Ma'am?
The other one's a 20%
That's
increase.
a completely different part of the proposal. So town center zoning only applies to R1 through R5. R6, I'm happy to answer that question, but
No, we have
that's-
R6s, we have R6s.
I understand. I'm happy to answer that question, but it's not in town center zoning.
Yeah, but we have R5. We have this
But it-
area of R5.
Yes, exactly. And it does apply to R5. He was asking about R6.
Okay, but
so I
okay, you
wanted
can,
to
you can.
clarify.
say-
You know what I meant.
Okay, so
So
R6,
that means,
Yes.
we don't support it.
I don't.
If it's we in the flood zone, all these commercial corridors.
okay, so how you want to word it correctly, how you want to word
Alright.
this?
So we don't support it,
Do not support.
yeah, but.
You want to say
we
why?
have
Why?
reason,
In one
'cause
sentence.
we're in a
Because
flood
we don't
zone.
want to increase residential units in the flood zone.
Oh,
Look,
excuse
they're
me, Sam,
saying
where are you?
one residential unit
which
per acre
one are you
for
at now?
15 years. How
So I'm
many
confused.
residential?
Number one.
units
I'm not
will
denying
they
that.
have?
I just, the only reason I interjected was to clarify the
No, I-
difference between our.
Okay, thank you.
No, but it's.
I'm not denying any of that. He was asking about R6, so I just wanted to say
Okay.
that's different from town center.
Okay,
Okay, so you got the answer?
I got the answer.
But that answer can
CP
apply for the
13
entire project, that answer
Yeah.
can apply to the entire
That
project.
will- that will
Doesn't want to
concentrate
increase
on-
housing in the flood zone.
So that's what the answer, can you just,
Yeah.
okay.
Transit oriented.
You,
Okay.
right,
It does
the
not
same as
apply to us,
the-
we don't have wide streets.
We don't have large lots. We don't have anything half a
Okay,
mile. of
it's
the
an
subway.
No,
NA,
doesn't
not
apply,
applicable.
yeah.
Not applicable.
When you have the,
Right, transit oriented development, what do I?
Accessory dwelling units. Permit access,
Yeah, again,
Here, here's the.
Right.
one. It's
so I
still
printed this out so you could see where it would be
Mhm.
happening.
transit oriented development, so
Right,
Hillville Avenue is applicable to the wide.
it's all right there. Right,
the
so,
low density
You see, all
area.
this purple, it's transit oriented development.
right,
It
and
could
you can
happen,
see,
and
and
this-
right next to it, you can see what it is now and then what it would be in the future. The numbers.
So that would be transit
So R2 double,
orientated development. There are
Check
wide lots
R3,
there.
check R3, R5,
R3 does.
R3, forget it, it's CP, okay.
This
They're not,
Yeah,
from
R3,
1 to
R5.
25 to
Thank
30. 545, from 30 to 45, so they add in like.
Two floors?
It's not the floor, it's been
Yeah.
And to note
depends if
that
you
only
need
on the
superstructure.
short end of the block, if the lot is more than 5,000 square feet. So this map's a little bit challenging because it doesn't apply to every single lot there. But if a lot that's over 5,000 square feet on the short end of a block, then it.
And they can
Or a
also
wide
buy
or a
air
wide
rights and build even more, or not, or that doesn't apply, the air right sale. doesn't apply
Only
to
if
them.
you mean part of the landmark?
Only if it's within the same FAR,
No,
no,
What about?
only for landmark, okay, got it.
Yeah.
So you don't care about narrow streets, wide street, that's irrelevant here.
There are no.
No,
Well,
it's
no.
their
Willow
wide
Avenue
street.
is a wide
Exactly.
street.
All right, so perfect.
Okay.
So do we want, who is living at the school?
Huh?
Do we want to have, double height?
You
Are
just
we
said,
gonna have double height over? There are a lot of stores on Stillwell Avenue. There is a
Yeah.
lot of
Very commercial.
very commercial. There's one-story stores, there's pizza parlors,
And
and do people want to live above it?
people wanna live everywhere they can afford now, okay?
Okay,
But, I mean, whatever affordability, does not apply to those kind of developments.
Affordability, that's not an efficient.
Yeah, that's not
all
applied to
right,
this
but we're
kind of
talking
development.
about transitory development around here.
They're saying allow them to build and maybe it becomes affordable with the time. There is no mundane affordability here. They're not saying build only affordable housing. No,
No.
build wherever you want. And you can rent it or sell it as much as you want. The whole piece, it will be so many of those housing that the market will bring it down. So they're not trying to regulate the market. They're saying, let
Yeah,
it
this
It'll
kind of
not bring
market,
itself down.
yeah, this kind of market are not being regulated.
build more density into there. All right, so what's your conclusion? What's your opinion? I want to word it.
Transit oriented. We're still on this one, right?
Okay, so it's,
do you want to vote? Yeah, I don't know.
no, I mean, just.
No, transit orient, all right, allow modest 3 to 5 story apartment. Large lots with half a mile of subways, I've walked most of this.
Right, a very commercial, so it
It's
becomes.
very,
more
Stillwell
residential.
Avenue is very commercial.
So
There are a
what
lot
if-
of 1 and 2 family homes there.
So what if, what is?
This
the
is
danger of
where-
that area becoming more
This is
residential?
all full of big apartment buildings.
Which one?
oh,
No, that's a
That-
park.
but
This is.
same.
this
No,
is
that's a
over
park.
park.
See that
I
little
see.
sliver? That's where I live.
Oh, okay. That's
Right.
nice. You have a.
The low density one.
Okay, so,
Includes, Dewey High School, going north of that.
Yeah, but Dewey High School is.
Right by the bridge. Right, so
The
that's
train,
Before Avenue X,
yeah,
so
I'd
that's
like-
all in that area. And right underneath the
Subway.
subway line.
Right underneath
Right.
the subway.
It's right underneath the subway.
And the largest buildings that you have there right now are, what, 6 or 7 stories?
Yeah, that's,
Opposite LMBs and, you know,
Yeah.
things like that.
Well, we're already, oh,
But
that
that's not
part,
us.
yeah.
yeah, it's,
So what? So what is the danger of people building additional two-story residence there?
That's not, I can see.
I don't see any danger,
Yeah. and
but I
that's
don't
one-
see any benefit.
Well, it becomes
except
more
for
livable.
housing.
It becomes
yeah.
more livable, more residents coming
Not that
in.
you or I would wanna live right
By
by
the
the
subway.
train
Yeah.
and so on, but.
I live by the.
Yeah, I do too, but,
Count me in on that.
By the train.
but people do.
So high in the water, the proper language.
So you're supporting?
Support, yeah.
Transit or, so we're supporting
No, let's
this?
say we wouldn't mind.
I vote.
No, come on.
You would?
I would mind anything without preliminary infrastructure update, preliminary plan for educational health and on and on
It's not
institution.
happening.
It's not
How
happening,
many
so I'm
buildings were
against it.
built? Did anybody talk about new schools?
I
here?
always talk
No.
about new schools.
No, no, no,
Yeah.
from developers.
Schools are- okay.
Developers don't.
But developers
So
have not,
how-
wait. Developers have nothing to do with schools. Schools,
Well, it's like
educate,
half a mile of
it's cities responsibility. So if city comes up with something and saying we need more housing, so they have to have a plan to accommodate those residents. So that's why I'm saying no to everybody.
I think Elena's gonna say no to
Yeah,
everything.
Shalena, no.
Yeah.
So Shalena can be no,
When
anybody
we
else?
vote,
Me
We
too.
have a few choices, like before, we can say yes with.
Yes, no, recommendation, no recommendation.
And no with the comments.
Yes.
So are we
Conditions.
leaning to no with the comments or to yes? with the
Conditions,
comments?
not comments.
Conditions.
Conditions.
Conditions. No with conditions? Those are our
I think
conditions.
in
I mean, I
case-
personally, go ahead, Michael.
No, go ahead.
I'm just hearing Elena, and from what I'm hearing is a flat out no with the conditions,
Mhm.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah. So to go down the entire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is, 10. If we're agreeing with most of what she's saying, I would personally say vote it down and then just write the conditions.
That's what we're doing. now.
But
But that's
no,
what
but
we're
that's not what you're
doing.
doing. You're going and you're looking at each one.
Okay.
She's
Yeah,
saying
no,
goodbye.
no. Lucy, that's how we work on economical tax. Each, 18
Each what?
proposals, that's how we work.
But that's
on-
not what you're implying.
No,
You're
I-
implying, take this whole
Yeah.
page and shred it,
No.
and I agree.
But then.
Go
we
ahead,
could
Michael.
say- My point is then, to that, we can say no with a condition unless that will be fixed, or like sewer lines will be updated or something. I mean.
But
Correct,
it
that's,
also gives them something to work with
Mhm.
going forward, as opposed to just saying no to the whole
Right.
thing.
Correct.
For example, what we were hearing originally somewhat around this table was, in this case, we're not really having a problem with this here, dealing with apartments over the stores within the purple area.
Mhm.
Okay, so they can go back with that and work,
Okay, we still gonna
With
put,
that.
So
Michael,
no
you're
with
right, we
condition
still gonna-
unless people
because
can flush.
I'm not even sure that a majority of this area is even in the flood zone. I think the skirts
Yeah. I
pretty
think
much
not.
the flood zone.
I think.
So that takes away one of our major,
yeah, but if the flood zone is based on Sandy? Or was it based
Well,
on,
we don't have a map. You have a map? Well, well, I can pull it out on my phone.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, if we say no with condition, those are perfect conditions. Update, sewer.
okay,
update,
whatever, I mean.
That's a condition and then build
That's
up.
standard.
So
Yeah.
no, unless,
gotta give them something to work with to
Yeah.
go
Mhm.
forward. Otherwise, we're stuck in the same old.
Yeah.
cycle.
right,
Correct.
really fit best? I can't think of any large lots we're gonna have in mind, so
Maybe one or two,
Very, very few.
very few.
For what?
if they, for those
Build
big
up.
lots, if they
Big
close
lots
there
close
were
to
some,
subway transit.
nursery there and some, whatever, so if they close it
There
down,
still
yeah.
is a nursery.
Yeah,
We're talking
if they
about-
close it
yeah.
down, you would have a big lot.
Also depends on big
because
lot means.
most of buildings we have there are attached or semi-attached, if you remember,
Correct.
so it's not
That's
really.
furniture stores, right?
Yeah,
like
that's not, that's
material.
not,
When you say large lot, you go by square footage, what do you go?
yeah,
by?
500,
5,000 square feet. So you can get maybe 3 houses together,
yeah,
3 houses.
Okay, so no unless. Well,
Whatever,
sewer system
write it
is
down.
updated.
So now we're not supporting.
Or
I think it's support unless, right, Michael? That's what you're saying?
that's what Michael said, support. Is the plan provided for, infrastructure update or whatever, you know,
Infrastructure.
I mean, how is it better to say for you? to talk
doesn't
to
matter,
you
it's not for them.
You can word it however you'd like, and it's up to you how you wanna do it. We give you free reign, so we provide this as an aid, but you can submit
I'm missing number
1 page or 1,800 pages of your recommendations, you know?
to be honest, we don't even, I'll say, don't even know whether they're having the same problems that we are by PS 188, when under a normal rain condition,
Mhm,
it floods. I've never heard of that in this area,
mhm.
okay?
But if you put infrastructure update, it's kind of, you know, it covers everything,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
I mean,
Infrastructure,
we are not
Infrastructure
focused on particular sewer or whatever.
okay.
So we will approve,
So we're
um,
saying yes with
With
infrastructure
support.
update or no
Support,
unless.
but required infrastructure update, whatever you wanna want.
Okay,
Accessory dwelling units,
Oh, please.
okay. District fixes.
Wait.
Yes.
And as a homeowner, I support that, but I'll stay quiet.
Accessory dwelling units.
Sister, do you want to elaborate? Why not?
What
Why
they're
not?
making,
yeah,
Okay, number one, basement apartments are excluded from flood zones, number one.
Right.
Number two, why not? For the same reason, if, again, we can put our comment, for the same reason, we were talking about enforcement for the previous text amendment, for the previous text. Because if my neighbor is having a garage, and instead of a garage, he's putting apartment, I wanna make sure that I would still have water and
Not
electricity.
according to.
But that-
Not according.
but this
to-
comment can be used for the entire proposal.
Huh?
That comment about infrastructure can be used for the entire
Yeah.
project.
I understand, but what about enforcement?
Enforcement, so what enforcement with the whole thing, for the whole project? Because it.
But
that
this
can-
is just the zoning. They're not
Yes.
going with
Mhm.
enforcement. That would be the Department of Buildings.
okay,
if
we
I'm-
don't-
Do they
support.
have enough staff for the Department of Building?
No, they're gonna have to hire staff, which really good. Maybe.
Let's be realistic. Half of these, a lot of areas here have illegal basements.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
So to support them and make it legal,
no, so you're not making basements legal, correct?
They
Not in flood.
everywhere, but not
No,
everywhere,
Not flood
not in
zone.
flood
Not in
zone,
flood
Right.
zone.
but everywhere else.
Yeah.
well, yeah, right.
So,
You
So-
can make attic legal.
Yeah, but this.
But it is
community-
garages
this area
also.
Does have. a
so if
lot
I
of
have,
space.
so if I have a garage,
Mhm,
it'd be kind of hard, because one of 15 floor.
right.
Why?
So if,
Mary wants to have nail salon on her
If you have a
balcony.
garage,
That-
you can
that's-
put it
if I have
That's
a garage
economic.
and I wanna move my grandmother
That's
in,
economic too.
Right,
fix it up and so on, I don't personally have a problem with that, I think that
up to believe,
makes sense.
up to 800
the
square
grandmother's
feet, I believe,
already
right?
there in half of this neighborhood.
I'm sorry?
All grandmothers are already there in this neighborhood.
That's part of the reason for the proposal.
I'm just saying.
Right, these are already happening, and a lot of times because there's no legal pathway for them, it's just an owner who may or may not understand how to build safely, picking up a hammer and nail. and doing it.
But how did they connect the sewer line to the garage?
Don't ask,
Bail, pale.
I'll show you. When you drive me home, I'll show
I'll show you
you.
the.
Well, but that's exactly the point. Under existing conditions, it's often, not necessarily always, but often shoddy because you don't have to go through a review process. So
Okay.
provide it, so saying no to it is fine. That's your choice, you know,
It's
you
only
can say
800
whatever
square
you'd
feet,
like,
just one
but,
bedroom, 2 bedroom.
but I am just saying that
One bedroom.
what we found is that not having a legal pathway doesn't say that we won't have ADUs. You said it yourself, we still have them. So if we're gonna have them go through a review process or have them not, that's our reasoning is we'd rather have them go through a process and make them safe.
Yeah, and pay more taxes and all
I-
that.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
more tax revenue.
that certainly makes
Of course,
sense.
the city.
I mean, even in a
Super
high-rise building where I
expenses, et cetera,
have
but
somebody
Water, you don't even wanna talk about.
not
200%
properly
of my
hired,
disposal
contracted to redo a
of
kitchen.
My bill, my bill's 30
Okay,
bucks.
after
And
we have
forces right
complete
in-
rules like your
forces
co-op
100 to
does, okay?
disposal.
And that person drilled through the gas line.
Gas line?
Don't have any idea in a high rise what kind of killer that is. I had people that we could not get the gas company down for months.
Hmm.
Okay, because of the testing necessary and all that they
They
shut
didn't have
down
any
everybody
housing.
and
The pipes
things
on the
like that.
walls.
As well.
Again,
Didn't
so
have
you
any
can imagine what they're
housing
doing with
companies,
the illegal
the gas
apartments.
line broken.
Yeah, but
couldn't
like
have
Lucy
years of
said,
it.
there are
Or
loads
was
of
it something
basement
that-
apartments that are illegal.
But
now.
basement apartments still not gonna become legal
Right.
in
No,
this area, okay?
No.
Correct.
And actually, if somebody next door, is planning to, legalize cottage or garage, and somebody has an illegal basement, it's gonna.
So my question is, you are in R2, right? We have R2, for example, and you have a garage and you want to convert this garage to apartment. Are you becoming three-family house in R2? So now you're non-compliant or what?
Well, so to clarify, so the zoning doesn't
Right.
necessarily always match what's built on the
Right.
property. So I assume what you mean is I have a two-family property.
Do you have two family to begin with?
Right, and then
And
you add a
you
third.
add in another, so third family can live in the garage.
Mhm.
Now you have a legal three-family in R2.
You have three legal units.
Units,
Yes.
it's not family.
3 units, but
Sure.
how many people live in this unit is up to owner?
Yeah, who
Yeah.
cares?
Who cares, right?
Who
If
cares?
if they're legalizing,
So
SROs
you can have
and,
R2,
whatever.
You can legalize attic, you could legalize garage,
Yeah,
and
you must
suddenly
have
my
to do that.
neighbor has like a tenement, okay.
Well, I didn't follow that. I apologize.
I think he's saying that,
To legalize it, they don't have so much headache.
yeah, but
Think
that,
about reality. You want to legalize a garage?
Right,
Let me see the sewer line. Who did it?
right,
You have permits from plumber,
that makes sense.
yeah,
excavation.
but she's saying
So
if
if
somebody,
there should be a cap, how many
And also-
units you can legalize, like if you are R2,
Oh.
you can add like certain amount of.
One ADU.
One
One.
Okay.
one, whether it's a garage or a.
Yep.
One.
With,
Okay. so it's
and
not-
you also need fire department approval for access,
You,
correct?
you need approval for everything. So it's gotta be.
Yeah.
Fire, DOB, electrical,
Listen,
et
it's up to
cetera.
the person if they wanna build or not.
Give them
So
the
either
freedom
you
to build.
support it or you don't support it. They
Yeah.
wanna,
The cost,
if they have to burden, the burden of the expenses on the person that's building. That's it. You guys are
Right.
going in circles. It's either yes, that you're allowing this, or no. Forget about the extra expenses. That's up
Let
to
them
the
decide.
individual. Like for me,
Like
I
as
mean,
Homeowners, I mean, what homeowners think?
Homeowners?
Yeah, what do you
Yeah,
want this?
I don't see anybody in homeowner thinks it's gonna hurt them. By having the freedom to choose what you want to
I
do with
mean,
your property.
most of our houses here are townhouses. We're attached. So here it's
You're
not gonna,
attached, you cannot build them back.
well, that's what I'm
You
saying.
gotta
So it's not
5 feet.
relevant.
But you're saying Coney Island,
Yeah.
right? All right, go
I'm
to
not worried
Grave.
about the rest
go
of the
to-
world. Don't worry about here.
All right.
I
Go
live here.
to
30
other
foot-
parts.
30 foot
But
Wait a
Community
minute.
Board 13, it's not only Coney Island, it's Brighton with bungalows,
Oh,
so
okay.
many illegal SROs, okay? With a crime and on and on and on and on. So that's
Sorry, I
why,
apologize. I
okay,
forgot.
no, no, no.
We have
I'm looking at
people
townhouses,
renting out
attached houses
owners
all the
and
way
all
here.
Right,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of
People
private
in
homes around where I live,
You're right, I apologize.
on
Unless
nice
Unless you're gonna
sized
build a
lots.
backyard egress.
Yeah.
That's
So
why we
this
have
is
the
not
proposal.
changing.
Okay, so.
But
what
again,
is
the burden is on the expenses, the burden of the expense is on the
Right.
builder.
I
So-
really,
So the question
believe,
is, should we agree that it should happen and it's
Okay.
up to someone to build it or not?
I would say, I'm for freedom. And I believe people should be given freedom to utilize their properties,
Mhm.
but
That's about it.
we need,
Enforcement.
a normal enforcement and, the
But that's
approval
not the question on
process.
the table, Mike.
Because
That's not the
if we,
question.
But enforcement's a
okay,
different topic.
Right,
Okay.
but you need the enforcement.
not only enforcement, Because if you go
Okay.
back, few years ago, there were so many projects, okay? And people were complaining after all, so many projects, because Department of Building was so busy. So many projects were self-certified
Mhm.
by yes, am I right? Okay. So after that was self-certified, getting CFO, oops, Department of Building, Fire, GP were getting complaints after complaints.
Mhm.
So it should be enforcement and no permission for a self-certified process. That's it.
Okay, so yes, with enforcement
With,
and no self-certification,
Yeah, that's it.
no self-certified.
If
and
you want,
enforcement.
if you wanna give people freedom,
We can say yes
especially, we all know it's already exists, okay? We all know it's already
This doesn't
exists.
mean it's right.
Okay, I understand. Okay,
Okay, so yes,
yes,
with
with,
proper enforcement and no self-certified.
yes.
right.
Okay, district fixes. or-
District
Phase.
It's okay.
Yeah, now we're talking about.
Oh,
garage.
and you're saying proper enforcement, but that's for everything in this,
Of
in the
course.
world, so
Yeah.
it's like.
That's okay, so.
So,
okay.
We're gonna work on
Like
it,
district
Lucy.
fixes explanation,
Yeah,
it's not
I
the
think it
same.
should be a little stronger, not that
Okay,
mild.
what do you recommend?
No,
I don't recommend anything, I don't have that type of language on me, I am very minimal.
Lucy, it's just an idea. Mary and Sam and whoever, I mean, we still have 2 weeks before full board committee meeting. We're gonna work on it.
But don't
The
they want
same
The
way,
wording, yeah.
the same way we work on economical thing.
One more thing, I don't know if it's mentioned, they're gonna decrease the backyard right now, gotta be 30 feet. I believe they wanna make it 20 feet. So now you have 20 feet in the back, and I believe the cottages gotta be 5 feet from the property line.
Mm,
5 feet from the property
So you have
line
a small little 10-foot box at the end.
absolutely.
and 10 feet from any existing building.
And 10 feet, so in reality, it's
Well,
happening.
they're not building, that's it,
It's not even realistic.
they're building a shed,
Some
Move
of
on.
them. You know,
And a max, even if you do have a one, there's a maximum of 800.
Yeah.
We're gonna add something about the property.
fixes, district,
Yeah, so if I may, so the district fixes, we can go to right above, the commercial with the red, that map with the red that we talked about previously. If you look at the page right before that with these different shades of blue, so the district fixes, if you remember, that's where we were talking about, not necessarily adding units, although you could do that if you have the area.
enlarged homes you talked about, right?
Pardon?
Enlarging the home.
Enlarging slightly some of the rules, right? So you can see in the table,
Yeah, it's an ocean.
the
Bigger family.
slightly enlarged FARs, slightly higher base height and max heights. And part of our reasoning here was not only adding more units, but also flexibility for homeowners, because there's a lot of homes that are currently non-conforming. And if you want to do anything to your home that's non-conforming, it's a headache, a mess, and really expensive. So there's a lot of situations we've heard where people say, all I wanted to do was change my garage or not change my garage, like enlarge the kitchen. You know, or add a bedroom or consolidate bedrooms because my kids moved out and it's a huge headache.
Talk
So
about big families, that sounds pretty fair.
that's part
You
of
got a
our
big family, wanna live together,
But-
another bedroom to a back
Okay,
maybe.
to me, it's very vague, it's kind of,
Well, they adding 10 feet to the 5, which is another floor, and if we're talking about R2,
no,
R3, so it's a C gate, right?
Yeah.
It's to the height, it's lot size becomes smaller,
I believe, yeah.
R5, 1 or 2 family detached, same thing.
Yeah, so 40 to 45 feet max height.
And you also increase the FAR for that.
About,
Yeah.
for everything,
Yeah, it's in that table.
that's the
So-
magic 3 letters.
So R5, for instance, R5 currently has an FAR of 1.25, and our proposal is to increase that to 1.5. So if you're built at, I don't know, 1.3,
What about attached?
all of a sudden you don't have that huge headache, you're not non-compliant, and then you have a little bit extra.
And we're looking at the correct.
20%
I,
increase.
I don't have an opinion. We can leave.
I have a question.
You don't have the opinion, what happens?
She's taking a break. Am I looking at the correct map?
Yes.
Yeah.
So for the district fixes, excuse me, it's only for detached homes?
No,
Cause that's what I'm reading, everything here says detached.
oh, what, and so there's an asterisk at the bottom, right? So
Where?
at the very underneath the table, it's real tiny, I'm sorry, it's trying to fit a lot on one page.
Yeah.
So if there's other permitted housing
Oh.
that's not listed in the table, there's no change to the minimum lot size, no change to the minimum lot width. you know, at 18 feet. But the floor area, the FAR and the height changes still would apply.
Yeah, because it's attached, you can't just suddenly build higher. If they're attached building, and they're not completely detached, you're not gonna build your house.
Okay.
Yeah. So what that asterisk at the bottom is saying that if there's a different housing type besides detached, right? Then the minimum lot size is gonna stay where it is right now at 1,700 square feet, no change. To if your building is attached or whatever. And there's no change to the minimum lot width at 18 feet. And the minimums are, if you have a lot that's empty, you can build there, right? Like, if you currently have a lot that's 1,600 square feet, you can't build any.
But you can change the height and you can.
Right. So the FAR, so basically, the FAR max, base height and maximum total height, those would still apply to non-detached buildings.
Like.
I hope that.
Especially we do have, a few in the bungalow areas, we got 40 by 40 lots. You can build a two family, two-family maximization, two family.
Then should be cute.
Okay.
So what?
Universal affordable.
So I have that
Oh,
baby to meet my family.
That means she agrees.
Bring all the people from Puerto Rico.
That's it.
That's not, this is that R five.
No, I
Oh,
understand.
yeah.
Yeah,
Big,
okay.
big portion.
Okay.
I live. in
Universe-
city And I work. on
I mean, it's a
private,
big
so I'm very
question.
close.
It's on end to end. All right, so what was the district fixes? What was the conclusion for it? It sounds
I'm
pretty fair.
not getting it when it says to build family needs, so I can build up on my home.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, I can bring all my Puerto Rican people here to. You're laughing, but I'm saying, what does that mean to meet their family needs? What does that mean? Does it
What do you
mean?
mean? It's a good selling point.
Exactly, but
Yeah.
it's just, it's like.
It's a good
So
selling.
know,
I'm
actually,
bringing my
We
family
are
from
fighting
PR.
for
There's
I can
some,
go up to the moon and I could have
Let me-
my own housing complex.
There's some families, they got, let's say, 5, 6, 7, 8 kids, and
Oh, I'm not popping kids, let's start with that.
it gives people more freedom, more options, in
Okay,
case
but
they
then
choose
how
to.
high? How high
I
can you
think
go?
another thing.
It's on the
I
table,
think,
right, so it's,
I don't know, maybe 10,
I know
15
it's
feet, right?
small, but
R5.
But yeah, so if we look at R5 and we're wondering, okay, what is it now? What will it be? The maximum height right now is 40 feet tall. What we're proposing is 45 feet.
Another 5 feet, oh.
5 feet. And then.
Okay,
20
so there you go.
feet.
You catered for me.
Very short.
I thought I could bring them all here. And have my own housing complex.
It's, well, it's an extra work for your and mine height. Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, extension in the back, I believe also, right? Talk about extension in the
Yeah,
back.
the one from-
You go to go 10 feet in the back, they extend the backyard.
No,
yeah,
height.
You're correct about what you said previously. Currently, the regulations are 30-foot rear yard, and the proposal also includes reducing that requirement to 20.
20 feet, all right, so you can go up or maybe go back.
So you
The
can-
old cement,
not all cement.
But only 5 feet.
More.
Sam,
More
Okay,
cement.
more.
Sam, but only 5 feet.
All right,
10.
so
Right.
which
You
way
can-
are we
How
on
is it 10? You
this?
just said 5.
Backyard.
Oh,
from
5 to
10
the
to
back and 5 to the height?
no, 10
No,
to
10
the
to the
back
back, 10 to the back.
and 5 to the height.
Oh.
All right, so
many of those
number,
people I can
number,
get.
district fix sounds fair, it sounds, gives people the freedom to add another 5 feet.
Come on.
Not
It
really.
gives freedom,
Oh, yeah.
That-
and it'll help
that-
probably legalize a lot that's already gone down.
No, it's not legalized.
It's not legalized.
Not at all.
I don't know,
Gotta
my
be below
dad
5.
did it to our house.
So we're supporting it?
Yes.
Give people the
you.
freedom,
I'm
you
not.
know. Oh, you're not?
We're not talking.
No. Leave, you support them now.
All right,
As long as Lucy can bring all her relatives.
didn't-
in, good to me.
Yeah.
make sure they're not more than 5 foot. You have to measure.
On the 5 foot.
I just
I was
fixed it.
gonna say something, but then I'll be in trouble.
All right,
Meet me.
universal affordable affordability preferences.
Oh, my God.
So this is the high density districts. These are the R6 through R10. So, the R6 that you have,
Now, one question we had was 20%, who regulates it? HPD, they gotta be HPD tenants? Or can the homeowner put their own tenants in there?
No,
I'm sorry.
If you say 20% more affordable housing, they gotta be affordable, right?
So,
Who brings affordable tenants? Is HPD, you gotta file the HCR report every single year? Or who decides the,
yeah, it's the same, yeah.
famous Housing Connect?
Yeah, so it's the same thing as like for, you know, an MIH unit now, or a VIH unit now, it has to go through the same process.
Same
You have
process?
to, you know, show your income.
Yeah.
Well, this
eligibility.
may be only good for developers then.
Okay, it's only good for developers. Let
Big
me
ones.
remind everybody, one of the projects we discussed, one of the ULOP that we killed, and we discussed last year. I'm talking about this little triangle.
Nixon Court.
Okay, yes.
Nixon
Nixon
Court.
Court. So what in addition to Nixon Court was in this ULOP, okay? We quoted, it was the area of rezoning, including nearby 7-story building, okay? 7-story building.
Yeah.
And we were told, we just wanna bring it up today because it's a zoning called zoning and on and on. You remember, Michael? So we are talking about those kind of buildings, starting from R6, they're gonna build high.
Right.
Okay, the problem is, if we are being told it's through Housing Connect, and we don't have a number, it doesn't say, it should be, if we are talking about housing, needs in this community and everywhere.
For this community.
Okay,
No.
it's not for this community, it's for developers only, because, for example, Rybak building, you know what I'm talking about in the park, it's the best example. He was the recipient of the 421 or 428, whatever program.
421.
Okay. So in order to get all of tchotchkes, he had to provide affordable house. There is no mandate to provide affordable housing, 20% median income, 40%. So if you look at Housing Connect, what you see, 120% of median income. And when you compare it with the market price, maybe it's $200, you know, maybe it's $200 per month difference when we are talking about the 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom. Maybe it's $100 per month different when we are talking, but it's for people making 100,000 plus per year. I have nothing against people who are making 100,000 plus per year, but it has nothing to do with the community we represent. So in our community, it would benefit developers only, or they're changing requirements. So after we can talk about it, it should be,
They're not changing.
okay, if you're not changing requirements.
But I remember what I
is-
wanted to say about Housing Connect.
Okay,
And it's, you just triggered it, affordable housing. When you get into those apartments, let's just say you get in there, and I'll be quick, sorry, Marianne. When you get in there and you pay an apartment, let's just say your income is $800, you know, I mean, your rent will be 800, and your income is this certain amount. But once you pass that amount, because I think they recertify you every year, or
Every
every 2 years.
Every
And let's say you're lucky enough that you were working at a $30,000 job and you got lucky enough and you got a $100,000 job. You booted out of that housing.
Or do you get a
No,
surcharge?
You get a surcharge.
You get a surcharge.
You get a
surcharge.
surcharge.
Yeah,
You pay more,
50%,
yeah,
Yeah.
you pay more.
Right,
Okay,
so
well,
where's the affordable then?
That's what you.
that's what happened in Starrett
Michael,
City.
where's the affordable then? How does it still say affordable?
It doesn't say.
It doesn't, that's what my point.
No, the
That's
tool
my
says
point.
affordable Housing Connect.
So you get in today and that's what happens, you know, you work, you try to move up in the world. And say, okay, I got this little job, I was making 30, I'm making 40 now, I'm making 50, but then you get kicked in the butt the other way.
But then conversely, it's also the other way. When you get to a certain age and you retire, your income is normally less.
Mhm.
So you're no
Some
longer
people,
paying
not
the
all.
50%.
It-
Yeah, nothing's definite.
Yeah,
Okay, but you know, so you were paying X and now you're going to pay because of the surcharge and now you're gonna pay less. Because every year you have to recertify
Certifications.
and so on.
But there is a
So-
reason, Michael, people want to live in your development, I mean, not your, you know, you let Warbucks. Because the base price is affordable.
Mhm.
Okay, that's the,
Well,
that's
that's the
the.
Mitchell-Lama program,
Yeah.
that was the most.
Right,
That
but
was
that's
the
a
most
Lama, that's not
program,
affordable housing,
period.
that's
Yeah.
different, right?
Yeah.
Ownership that
And one
was
more,
affordable.
I'm sorry, I got out of topic, but
No, but
it just reminded me, you got questions online?
And also one more comment, we got 421A, I believe it's about 30 years. Over here, I'm seeing the word permanently affordable.
Mhm.
The 421A,
Yeah,
I
so
believe
how
it's
do you
only
get
30
it
years.
Permanently
30 years, something
affordable.
happens.
Because they're changing program,
Yeah.
they're adding one more program,
Correct.
I don't, it's also.
45. So the state program is gonna be 485X.
Oh, 85X?
Right, to answer the question of how is it gonna stay affordable for how long, it's gonna be permanent because it's gonna be recorded on the property, on the deed. of
Yeah,
the
you said last
Right,
time, yeah.
yeah.
So we had,
And it's an average again of 60%, which we're under no illusion that serves everybody that we need, by the way. But something that it replaces is VIH, which is at 80%. Right? So is it perfect? Far from. But our reasoning is that it is an improvement and also it allows income averaging. The program it's replacing right now is VIH, which is 80% across the board. You want to add units per VIH, 80%, 80%, 80%, 80%. Oh, what if I want to provide 60%? No, you cannot do it. This, you could do 30%, 60%, 90%, you can average it out to 60. So we're under no illusions that it's perfect, but we do think it's at least an improvement.
But
But
if
you're-
there are no benefits, like extra benefits for developer to add 40% or 20% instead of 60, they're not gonna do it.
And
Maybe
that's
the-
why we think part of the benefits is the 485X.
maybe the property tax can be adjusted based on these benefits. So we had a question, I believe, online, you said, or comment? Comment?
Yes, my favorite, this one,
Well, hold
and
on,
my
hold on,
favorite.
hold on.
Yeah.
Somebody
Want me to-
stated they'd like to have a first floor business space and living space in the upper 2 floors of my attached home. Also, this would keep flooding away from my living space.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch the beginning of that.
The person said, I'd like to have a first floor business space and a living space on the upper 2 floors of my attached townhouse. Also, this would keep flooding away from the living space.
But they cannot have business on a first floor, on a residential, in a residential
Yeah.
area. If it's mixed use, no problem,
Mhm.
but if it's a residential area,
Okay,
yes.
Well, like,
You're right.
it's mixed use.
Yeah, you're right, the only exceptions are community facilities, and that's all.
Or read what they wanna do.
Or
community
a
facility.
doctor's office or
Doctor.
a doctor, a lawyer.
The lawyer, not
Right,
really.
doctor.
Lawyer, not really.
Sam,
A lot of drinking tomorrow.
they voted for previous tax amendment, so it's gonna be allowed some, home-based businesses, much more than a lawyer. It's, as of now, it's community facility. But if it's not,
So this one we're actually,
but
So-
if what we're gonna do is speak in community
No,
facility.
well, we don't want it in our area because.
So universal, so how you wanna do this? What's the proper thing? Cause making things affordable, obviously, everybody wants it, but obviously you mentioned correctly, make it different. Any recommendations? What do you wanna say right here?
Well, we don't want to add any residential because of the flood zone,
Yeah, but that's for everything.
for everything.
Right. And that's
Yeah,
why,
but
that's why
we
you stand now.
but we definitely need more senior housing.
Senior
But this,
That's
okay,
affordable.
it's affordable, so you also can see it,
Affordable.
right?
So unless it's affordable by local residents, unless it targeted.
Based on zip codes or based on,
Or like, let's say priority, we can mandate them give only local, but some priority given to local residents maybe.
Well, that's what they try all
Is
the
it
time. They
possible
build
it's no
something.
discrimination now?
There was a lawsuit that
Mhm.
first it was 50%, but that's been reduced to 20%.
Mhm.
And then a number of years it will be reduced to 30%, but there'll still be a preference.
Mhm. So there is a there is a small preference,
Yeah.
and the lawsuit was because it's discriminatory.
Against fair housing.
And that, okay, so that's down,
Oh, so you build affordable housing that then,
but you can rent it to people.
right, and you can also hide your income, which,
well, that's
Many,
a
many-
different,
yeah,
Yeah,
but
well,
many,
this is,
many people did it with.
the HPD
Mitchell-Lama.
oversees this, HPD. So
Yeah.
obviously, HPD
Yeah, but
oversees this entire.
HPD has a lot of problems.
Well, that's a different topic, but HPD oversees.
So do
overseeing
we
this.
support that? Do we think it's a good idea
I mean, what do you
overall?
think?
Well, I
Michael
don't
or
think it's a
Andrew?
good idea to build extra property unless it's affordable for senior housing.
That's it. So you want to increase, you know, the senior or?
I'm asking them.
Our area,
Okay.
we
I
have
thought I was on the-
30 where we live,
Okay.
30% of our population is about what, 56, 55, something like this. So it's
We're large.
unusually high, well, no.
We still would-
naturally,
you see-
huge
see-
child
okay.
community. So for that purpose, and those people who are retired, they lived here all their lives. I have my mom who lives here. To move her from here, it will be for her disaster. It's really hard. So unless it's the seniors affordable, I would stay with
Because he
that.
mentions it also the word affordable, supportive housing mentions there also
Yeah,
supportive.
to clarify one thing, so you can see the chart next to that, next to the yellow is where it would apply, the white is low density, does not apply there. If you see the chart next to it, you can see the changes in the FARs and the heights, right?
Or next,
No, you're on the right page, yeah,
okay.
that's UAP. However, the areas in yellow, you're already allowed to build buildings that big as what we're
Okay.
proposing, if it's affordable housing for seniors.
seniors.
So that's already, the height of
And
the oak,
we
it's already.
will remain in that way.
Yes, and it makes sense.
Okay.
That's it.
Right, so
So we're saying, no,
that's
we
my
would like to
opinion.
remain in the way it is now. For seniors only.
you took notes? Notes, whatever.
That one, no. You wanna repeat that?
Yeah, whatever.
I was just looking. Can you repeat what you said? Like,
With, okay,
go
right
in this
now,
little box.
right now, also any developer is,
No, what do you want to say exactly? And
What do you
now,
wanna
or just
say?
say bottom
We
line?
wanna support it.
no, we
if
don't support that.
We don't
We
support
don't
it.
support it. We want to remain it the way it is. They can build above 20% for senior, for affordable senior housing on that. If they wanna add extra, it will be for seniors.
Or we agree,
Mhm.
but only as it pertains for senior housing.
Which is already existing.
That's currently the rule.
Okay,
Right, so
If we say no to it, that's what we have it already.
you could say, so here's the existing white and the chart, and then next to it, the gray is what we're proposing for the FAR type, whatever. Those are roughly, what's proposed here is roughly already permitted, only if you're building a senior house,
Percent.
affordable senior housing. So what we're thinking is, well, why not allow that for any kind of affordable supportive housing? So you have, so the recommendation, not to put words in your mouth, was, we like it the way it is.
Right.
To retain that if you want to build affordable housing to these sizes, that's fine, but it's got to be for
But
seniors.
seniors,
That's what
because
you said.
if we build for anyone else, HPD, we send people who are not even living here. And it's not gonna be affordable for Coney Islanders anyway. That's my reasoning.
Michael?
so it goes back to it's affordable, but for who?
Right, we're asking for additional buildings that are built that it only be for seniors, affordable. for
Which we
seniors.
already have right now.
Which we,
That-
so we
that
wanna
will
keep it
exist.
just the way it is.
Keep it the way it is, not
Okay.
No to,
Okay,
to universal affordability preference.
I believe that,
Oh.
to make everyone's life easier, everything that applies to high density area, we should reject.
thank you.
Okay,
So we just rejected both one.
City costly parking mandate, then that we already spoke about. This is absurd. I mean, there's nothing more to say about this. When we're gonna have people fly, then we can talk about it. As of now, we still need cars,
When we have buses coming on time.
buses, MTA. You
you
know,
want buses on time
then
too?
we can, even Uber driver, let's say live somewhere, wants to park, he has to park his vehicle somewhere, where's on the park, even little, you know, just working delivery person.
Okay, so we do not support lifting parking mandates.
I mean, it's also.
We
says
strongly
city-
do not support.
Yeah.
It's citywide, but
Do
we're
not
not
support.
voting citywide. There are people in Manhattan who probably would like to.
Nobody will vote, nobody would say yes, except a few crazy people who say, or you have to walk, or you have
Yeah,
to.
but that's a big
Take a
issue
bite
here,
from the
so I don't
winter.
think you should just say don't support. You
No,
need
no,
to-
we're gonna put comments.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Big comment.
Yeah,
comment.
you know,
So what is the comment?
Okay, well, the comment
Two letters.
that it's impossible in New York City, like I said, to lift any kind of parking mandates because big percentage of people rely on cars to go to work or to bring their kids to school and on and on and on.
so I would use the word
Or go to
discrimination to
doctors,
make it more
right?
stronger.
Gonna be-
Discrimination towards poor people. Why am I saying a little bit less income? Because let's say if you're well enough, you can afford to pay $1,000 a month for parking. Now parking may cost $1,100.
Okay, we're gonna put it in the.
Well, it's also seniors. Seniors use their cars to
Seniors.
go many places, to medical appointments, et
It's
cetera.
hard for them.
And then for them to find parking when they get back home,
Mhm.
it's impossible.
Yes.
And on top, let me add this and then I'll be quiet because I'm leaving at 9. Okay. I was parking somewhere and I had to pay for my meter. So I look at my thing, I had no quarters, right? So I want to go on my app. You know, it was the easiest way. I paid not only the fee, I had to pay a surcharge to use the app now. Insane. Insane. I
You
got
have to pay
charged
a
whatever it was, the $2.
Yes.
Plus another 50 cents for using the app.
So,
So now
So I
make sure I have my
but
quarters.
if you are low, you don't think about it.
No,
But,
I'm
you know,
just
so what-
saying that they're adding more expenses other ways and then you can't get out of them. Like I was
Yeah.
like, are you serious? You're charging me another 50 cents to use the app?
And again, let's say you're just let's say delivery man or driving Uber, you come back home, you have nowhere to park your vehicle for the night.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
so let's move on.
All right.
Converting non-residential buildings to house. This has been since COVID, people working from home, a lot of commercial space being
And there are
converted to
all these
residential.
empty buildings in Manhattan.
And a lot of them convert to residential, a lot of headache.
Non-residential building, it doesn't apply to us at all, but
Oh, really?
whoever.
This is
Okay,
opposite.
no.
What's
It's not only office buildings, okay? If you read the entire proposal, it's not only office buildings and it's some changes. As of today, they can convert building built before 1960 after, am I right?
Mhm.
Okay, so they wanna change the time, so we cannot say it does not apply to
So
us.
like furniture store can convert to.
Uh,
apartment building?
No, maybe, I don't know. If it would be only about office buildings, only office building, we can be careless in our community because we don't have a lot, but we have one on, the first one built
Yeah,
by
Avenue.
Shram, next to the old, net course, okay?
sure,
Neptune 6.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it can be, according to, it can be converted to housing,
Right.
okay?
They have
So
to-
I believe whatever, again, I'm really sorry to, to be, pushy, but whatever is, for high density should be rejected.
Question, so if somebody wants to convert. Non-resident. Then right now they have to go through the rezoning process, through the community board, they can do the same, it's just easier for them to do with that new rule, right?
So I can summarize kind of the changes that are proposed, right? So first of all, you're only really, for the program that we're talking about for conversions, they are permitted. But right now, they're only permitted in what we call the Manhattan core,
Right.
Midtown South, and higher density parts of the city, downtown Brooklyn, et cetera. So we want to expand the eligibility to the whole city. That's one thing that we want to change. The second one, you summarized quite nicely, which is currently you can only convert buildings that were built before 1961. We want to change that to buildings that were built before 1991, right? So that's part 2 of this. And the last one is currently you're only allowed to, my understanding is you're only allowed if you do that conversion, which again, right now is only allowed in, high density 1961 before, to a standard apartment or dwelling unit, right? What we've seen is that because office floor plates are really difficult and, whatever, a lot of times that doesn't work, right? You don't have the legal windows for safety, things like that. So what we want to allow is different types of housing, supportive housing, right? Shared housing, supportive housing, dorm style housing, things like that, that are actually able to be built. What we've seen from talking to folks who like the idea of convert is they see an office building that's 80% empty now,
Right.
post-COVID. They say, well, we'd love to convert it, but we the only way that we could actually convert it would be to make like one huge dwelling unit per floor. And it doesn't make any financial sense, so an 80% vacant building remains an 80% vacant building, and there's no opportunity.
But the reason they're saying about only one huge unit, it has to do with plumbing and.
No, window and.
In addition.
A little
to-
bit of all.
In addition to vendors. So actually, and I believe if they're providing, let's say, kind of dormitory, they still need the number of bathrooms and
I don't see big applicability in
I don't
our
see it.
area.
Okay, I
Not
know
in our area,
Not
but,
in
No, but for
our-
general, you wanna,
but
No.
lower
What's the
Manhattan,
comment?
it
My
might work.
comment is no.
No?
I mean, my vote is no, we will come up with the comment.
All right, so it's a question mark. right?
okay, question. Small shed.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
but isn't there a lot of abandoned non-residential buildings?
Yeah.
In Manhattan, yes.
Here.
Here?
Well, this has
No,
become
not
a
here.
residential, right?
I mean,
And
non-residential buildings is commercial buildings, right?
office building,
The entire city.
and also, but.
So let's just say we're blessed that we don't have 100 auto shops on Neptune. And that just stays empty. Those can convert to homes.
It's in the middle in high density area, it depends on the zoning. It's not everywhere, we have to,
I don't see it so bad, I mean.
I see that.
I don't see it so bad. That's why I'm questioning before I say
Okay.
anything, before.
But again, if it's the way you are saying, okay, it can be converted to homes in our area. Again, my favorite question about infrastructure and on and on. So let's say if in each and every auto shop can be converted, plus they can build up,
Mhm.
they can build up and be converted to homes. How our
The
infrastructure
same
can.
Yeah, but
comments, no unless.
The
it
infrastructure
has-
comment
Yeah.
is already, it's the main comment. We're gonna wear infrastructure t-shirt. Infrastructure.
Yeah, but on that, no, if
Infrastructure
it's
schools
an
and
auto
hospitals.
shop,
Like
Yeah.
I said in the
if
beginning.
it's an auto shop, it has to be
Yeah, but they give
remediated.
the freedom.
Because it's gonna be a brownfield.
I'm
You got
gonna,
people somewhere.
so you are ordering a t-shirt? I'm ordering also, I wanna be able to flush my toilet.
You got school t-shirts, you have the hospital t-shirt, medical t-shirt.
Okay,
You know?
small,
Okay, I think converting non-residential buildings is leading to small and shared housing. Because you're describing like dormitory, like
We're gonna permit it.
dormitory.
It's more like micro units kind of concept, micro units.
yeah,
Airbnb.
and somewhere in your proposals, it said it has something
Airbnb.
about
That's from the
up to
shelters.
800.
Airbnb is a bit different, it's different.
Also somewhere provision.
That's an ADU.
Yeah, no, these would be even smaller.
You can rent
Of course
your
it's a
house.
big-
Right, with shared kitchens.
They
Things
could-
like that.
And it also
They
says
say kitchen, but not
facility.
bathrooms. They have their
What
own
in,
bathroom.
who told?
No,
you?
share
They
bathroom.
share bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the reason
right.
for the city,
That's right,
correct
put the
me
homes out.
if I'm not
Benefit
agreeing
with
what you
friends.
said and what it's read. City says, let's build those legal SROs, okay?
SROs, no.
Let's build, and people who currently occupy 2 or 3 bedroom apartments, is like roommates,
Mhm,
they're gonna go to those SROs,
mhm.
and those 2 bedroom and 3 bedroom apartments gonna become available for families, am I right?
Okay,
Yeah,
so
get
that,
rid of the roommates.
so you gotta have situation, let's say if you have, not more than, let's say 80 square feet per person. Which means
No.
you cannot have it in a
Okay.
room, which means you can put a room with 2 bunk beds and like, left and right, you can put 4 people into a room easily.
I cannot support it because
With
it
limitation.
reminds me, Soviet Union
Yeah.
with those communal.
Oh, that's when my grandmother lived in the tenements,
Building
Lower
tiny
East Side.
studios, I understand, like, okay, maybe sharing kitchen, but every unit should has its own plumbing, like bathrooms.
Come on, it's expensive.
do-
Showers.
Come
Plus
on,
five,
it's
6
expensive.
But you can make your own design.
There's some
Okay,
comments.
next
There's some
one.
Comments
There's comments on the
Oh,
screen.
comments, wonderful.
Comments.
Affordable for Coney Island is different from bright and affordable.
We know.
For families and single,
Yeah, we need to- we spoke
and
about it.
single need, ownership, that's realistic. Then, next comment is supportive housing and senior housing can be two different housing unless specifically for seniors. And last comment, supportive is used to loosely like affordable. The question of what need to be answered before it's vote.
Okay. By the way, affordable for Coney Island, it's not so different for affordable for Brighton, because according to census, Brighton Beach Avenue is the one of the highest senior citizen population. So meaning, we have, that's why people from that corporation that owns TJ Maxx in Marshall said we would not build on Brighton when we had some empty whatever, because it's a very low income area. So we do have Oceana and we do have some condos, but majority of Brighton, it's a low income area, and it's a North area if someone knows about it.
So for the shared housing,
Hopefully.
I would vote no.
No, do not.
Like by me.
No, I don't.
Me personally,
what about the college dormitories? Like it's NYU College, Columbia?
But that's temporary college. That's why we call it dormitory, college
Right.
dormitory. So people,
they
students,
supervise it, they like,
Yeah,
they.
I'm
they
trying to
have some-
remember.
they have
They
maintenance staff, whatever.
Cleaning.
Okay.
I'm
What
sorry.
do
Share
supervised
housing, if
tenants?
you're poor,
It gets,
people are happy to have somewhere to live and share a bathroom.
actually it gives people like a starting home, which means most
Exactly,
rooms are
that's
there as a
right,
starting home.
exactly.
That's
If you're,
roommates,
if
that's
you're
the
coming,
roommates.
But think
It's
about- okay.
okay.
it gives them more opening than living in a shelter.
I understand,
It's
I
operating from
understand,
home.
but there is no price, mandate to make those share, units affordable,
Except the market.
okay?
Except
That's the only market.
Supply demand.
So
dictates.
it's not like we are saying this affordable, this share housing would be in addition to supportive housing. Because what is supportive housing? It's for homeless, mostly
Like
for
a college
homeless, okay?
dormitory.
If we have share and small and share housing with some kind of price range of from 0 to 20% of median income, we can talk about it.
Right.
But if we are talking about,
Open
Well,
market.
let me
it's
put it
open-
this
Oh,
way.
it's only open market.
yeah,
Yeah.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, actually,
She
Yeah.
will.
no, actually, but,
oh,
okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Actually, you too, you know,
Right.
according to my understanding, SRO single room occupancies are control, regulated by DHCR, is that correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Correct, so DHCR makes it, which means once you have, SRO is a very unique kind of game. It's different, you can actually demolish those houses until later on not harassment, it becomes more complicated. Anyways, if DHCR regulates how much rent you know, the previous rent that you paid, you regulated how much you can raise the rent according to my understanding. And is that what it is with SROs? Once the HCR is involved,
So.
it's regulated,
It
which
was the
means.
reason, for some reason, SRO disappeared from the market, are the only
no,
one
they're
that
not, because most of them are illegal, unfortunately.
illegal,
Yeah.
right, that's what I'm saying, that was the reason why city do not continue to allow to build new SRO. What was the reason for it?
Do we
was
want,
not
how
big.
honest do we want to be?
Okay, it was never ever built as SROs, okay? That's what they're planning to do now. They wanna build SROs.
No, they are legal SROs, they still exist.
They legal, not
SROs.
because it was built as SROs, just because it was approved as
Approved
SROs.
as SRO.
Okay.
But at some point, city stopped approving new SROs. So I'm
Okay.
saying that was probably a reason. Did we forget that reason why we stopped doing it? I mean,
Okay, we gotta
What
look
was
at-
the,
You'll be reported.
Well, quite frankly, what we found with a lot of our history is that a lot of it was discriminatory or frankly bigotry. There's a lot of people who are living in SROs that were seen as not the best people. And you could draw your own conclusions about what that
It was a
means.
stepping stone.
no, it's
no, you're not listening.
Not
No, I heard
listening.
it.
It wasn't.
not a stepping
No,
stone.
no.
Okay,
So what are we thinking about small and shared housing? We're kind of uncomfortable with
There's no-
it.
I'm voting no, but we're gonna put some comments about that, it might be program beneficial for people starting moving from shelter only in condition if price is regulated.
But also, let's say a person just graduated college, they have little money for rent, where can they
That's
live in
what
New
he
York
said
City?
last time, yeah.
I mean,
They share with
they
roommates.
get roommates.
Right,
They
but
yeah,
rent
city
two
planning is
bedrooms,
saying,
Or you could say
instead of
approved
having
with
a
the same
three-bed-
conditions.
which
No.
is, more affordable, or what condition would you make it?
Okay,
affordable?
people live where they can afford. Some people share 3-bedroom apartment in Upper West Side,
Nobody
and
stops
some
them.
people in nobody stop them. And people are looking for such apartments close to work, close to this and close to that. Yeah, but Williamsburg, it's but how many, but if, let's say, everyone from Williamsburg who are renting loft for $4,000, their two roommates, 2,000 and 2,000, okay? Fine, they're moving to SRO, great. So 4,000 apartment gonna become available. The only people who can afford it would rent it. It's not gonna help. It's not gonna help the crisis for low income people, so.
Yeah, but a lot of rent stabilized apartments in New York City, correct me if I'm wrong, you can sublease without permission of the landlord.
Come on,
Usually.
people,
They do it, yes or no, you
Nobody's
can do it,
asking
but you
me.
cannot really sublease it.
You could,
You sublease if you're a rent stabilized apartment?
not rent stabilized.
Not rent
We have a
stable.
million rent
I
stabilized
know
apartments.
I know people having vouchers for Section 8,
Well,
okay?
come on, let's not start
That's
talking. We
it.
all know everything.
We all know.
We know people got 10 husbands and they got one person on the lease.
I
That's a
don't
whole
know.
Okay.
different story.
So, all right,
I don't
so,
know.
what is the conclusion regarding this? Any conclusion?
I'm going with Yelena's wording, but I'm focusing on support, but I would like to hear everybody else.
Chris, Noah said that's affordable. Noah said it's affordable.
Well, again, market dictates. If
Market
people are willing to pay the rent, the landlord is gonna lower the rent based on vacancy, right? If
rent-
there's
Okay,
demand,
so
what can you do?
SRO used to be rent stabilization code, the subject to rent stabilization code.
it still is.
But it's not in here, not in this land.
So they have to add it.
It's not
That's our
SRO,
problem.
that's something that's completely new entity.
I'll add that another part of the proposal is the small housing, which isn't necessarily SROs, right? SROs is under the bucket of what we're talking
Right.
about here, but it's also small housing.
Small housing is
And-
better.
right, like, so I'll give you an example of something that's not allowed today that would be allowed after this, and you can make your determination of how you feel about it. Right now, I live in a studio apartment, right?
Paying 10,000 a month.
Uh,
Just joking.
300 square feet.
The market does not dictate that. I live in a studio apartment, but I live in a building that is not all studio apartments. Why is that? Because they're not allowed to build that, right? You're saying in Williamsburg, right, there's a lot of 20-somethings living together with roommates. And what we're saying is, well, wouldn't it be great if we could basically catch all of them in a couple of buildings, right? And free up some of those other buildings. So right now, I live in a studio apartment, the other units are not allowed to be studio apartments, or only certain of them. They have to average out to larger apartments. So a developer is say, okay, I'll build a studio apartment, and then I'll build another studio apartment, and then I'll build a 3-bedroom and a 2-bedroom, and it has to average out. Seems great on paper, but at the same time, then it still provides family-sized units in maybe a place like Williamsburg, where people are young, usually single, have no problem living in a small unit. They're, spending most of their time out, just need a,
So you're talking about maximum number of units per building, which means now, which means talk about studios, which means now, let's say you're allowed to build 10,000 square feet, you can be in, let's say, 20 studios. Or, maximum of dwelling
Smaller
units.
units, allow the bigger percentage of smaller
Right,
units.
Yeah,
in one, and it's not SROs, I got my own
Right.
kitchen, I got my own bathroom, but it's a smaller unit, I don't need more space than that.
You remember
Okay.
Bloomberg proposal for 300 square feet, remember?
20 square feet, yes.
I mean, in France, Le Corbusier did it, he minimize, what is the minimum amount you need to exist? Small tiny kitchen, bath, and little shower.
And to be clear, this is not changing that. The Department of Buildings still regulates the minimum size of an apartment.
Mhm.
We're not changing that. What we're saying is you're now allowed to build more of those small
More than
apartments.
small
Right,
units.
If the market
If there is
dictates,
demand.
yeah. if there's demand.
But it's up to developer, whatever he can make money of renting big apartments or small apartments. Again,
Right.
if you give them some kind of incentives, saying build small apartments, make it kind of supporting housing or whatever, and you're gonna get some tax break, that's one story. But build, it's not gonna lead to building new small apartments. What it's gonna lead to, it's gonna lead to conversion and legalizing SROs we have today. But if you tell people, developers, there are some areas it might work. If you tell developers, look, we want you, we give you permission now to build some kind of SRO, small apartments, and rent it for whatever price, I mean, not price, the percentage of, okay, and we're gonna give you some tax break and on, that's different
I
story.
remember when we were reviewing these new developments that's built there, most of the apartments are one.
One bedroom.
One bedroom
One
and studio,
bedroom,
so
yeah.
there is a market for it. There is a
Well,
market for
he's
smaller apartments.
anticipating it.
Actually, if you look at the buildings, studios have one of the biggest turnaround
Yeah,
than two
Yeah.
bedrooms or threes.
studios and
Studios
also
and one
in the,
bedrooms.
in the market, it's, people are buying studios
So
as
there is
an
a need for
investment, yeah,
studios,
as investment,
But
yeah,
at ours, are they not really?
okay, whatever.
Okay, so, all
Next one,
right,
Okay.
All right.
So what was the conclusion? Supporting with condition or not
no,
supporting?
not supporting
Wait,
and writing why. Okay, let's
Do
count,
we know why? So why we here before we move to the next one?
okay,
Is it written down why?
I don't know if they wrote down what I said and everybody else said.
we gotta make
Okay.
it one sentence, why not?
Why not?
In one sentence, what is bad about it?
It's not bad, it's
Okay,
not
why not?
benefiting.
That's the
It's
problem.
not okay, they claim they need it for people who are, let's say, starting their life, okay? If
Mhm.
we are talking about people starting their life, not like moving from Miami to New York and waiting for 3 months to find the great mansion, okay? We are talking about people who are starting their life. So, not everything else, but those share units, if they're meant to help people, should be really affordable. They should be part of whatever program.
As it
So then you
used to be.
support it,
then
but then
you
it should be
support it.
affordable.
But it should
Or
be
only
affordable.
Affordable.
Okay, so how do we, again, one sentence,
I said it, Maren will write it, Maren is very good in writing, and
No,
we will fix it.
sometimes what you're saying though, to me, is that it seems like it's a good plan as long as it's
That's what
affordable.
I'm hearing.
Okay, let me rephrase it. It's not a good plan because it does not include so and so.
what's,
Okay.
It doesn't include affordability.
Yeah, it doesn't include so and so, so you can play
But
with
if
it.
you're reversing it, it's the same thing.
No,
Okay, I'll be quiet. I'm not
Okay,
gonna argue.
because the universal affordability
I tell you to
preference
keep.
no, we're talking about,
No.
small shed,
says
Yes.
affordable.
correct.
This one doesn't say affordable. That is your beef with
So you
them.
want to be,
not only that, but I wanna be politically correct.
no, just one sentence.
Yelena does not give thoughts in one sentence.
Okay. Angela,
Fire me.
Michael,
I'm not saying nothing because I support it, so.
I support it. I think it would be a great idea.
Okay.
It would
Uh,
get people
I-
off of
I'm-
the street.
I'm really sorry, no, it's not, okay? It's not, but that's a different story.
Why
So,
don't we take
let
a-
me-
Well, let's,
wait.
instead of going around in a circle, take a straw poll and then move on because it's gonna be 9 o'clock.
actually, one more thing, I know like,
We
City
have a whole
Steps
nother
has a
page.
Yeah.
section for
Yeah.
SRO.
Yeah.
The other page is.
A lot of
I think you
programs.
should take a straw poll on this.
No, no,
Oh,
no.
yeah, actually, that's here,
Huh?
where everything's yes or no. Okay, so,
No, no, no,
I'm
no.
Don't rush things.
don't write, all right.
Let it come out like it's supposed to, because Marion still doesn't know what to write.
Well, right now we're deciding yes or no, that's the whole thing right now, we still,
Marion
Okay.
keeps crossing things out.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So, how to make it fair? Who thinks SRO is good? Say yes versus
No,
no.
no,
That's
Well,
not
the-
SRO, because
That's,
Who thinks it's
SRO
your
is
house?
regulated by the market.
It's not
That-
regulated at all.
It's
But-
not regulated, there is no
I know.
You know about
affordability.
shared,
Time out.
how
What
is a
is the
shared,
last, what is the last sentence in this thing?
Eliminate
Eliminate strict
strict limits
limits
for
on
studios
studios in one bedroom.
Yes, for
Yeah.
that.
okay?
Yes, for
Right.
that. Eliminate.
Right,
What?
so
limits
someone
for
can
studios
build
and one bedroom.
Now, one more
an
question,
entire building of studios.
am I allowed to ask Airbnb
Or like
question?
that thing down the block.
If they wanna.
Airbnb, is this SROs and Airbnb?
Studios.
No,
Can SROs be
He
Airbnb?
says it has to be
No, it-
proportional to the two bedroom,
Yeah,
the
they-
three
And
bedroom.
it should be
Because
proportional.
And the
under
one-
SRO
and it
property
should be
tax,
proportional,
SROs are being taxed
Because
as
it's the
hotel.
right, it's the right proportion.
SROs being taxed.
Do
as
you
hotel.
wanna see the entire building of studios or SROs? I don't. Because it's gonna be very, very fast turnout. People are getting married,
Frenzy.
people are moving. Okay.
Okay,
So,
SRO is also part of Airbnb system or
Pardon?
is also part
No.
of Airbnb system, SROs?
No,
No.
no, that.
No, it's an SRO, if you want to build an SRO, that's a whole other can of worms that you need to open in terms of regulation.
so this really isn't building SROs.
You
Each
could.
kitchen, bathroom.
So again, it allows it per the zoning, but then there's other regulations, other agencies that need to get involved, make sure it's safe, habitable, all that good stuff.
Let me
I
say
think
this.
what it
Is this
says,
talking
says
about-
what?
Let's talk about, let's say, if a kitchen, a bathroom and 20
I
rooms.
think that's
it?
what-
This is it?
No, that's
One
an
kitchen, one
SRO.
bathroom and 20 rooms.
I don't know the exact number, but
No.
yes, shared
Shared.
facilities in
Kitchen
certain
and
cases.
I think that's what we're upset about is the shared facilities. Going back to the Lower East Side tenements of the early 1900s.
or if at the end of the sentence, it must be mandated
Most-
that it is,
I send you.
oh, come on.
severely affordable. Okay, not the 60% that's not included
Absolutely.
here and things like that.
How about 10% of the
So-
AMI?
From 0 to 12 to 20.
And then you can get your positive version of, we agree if only it falls within that scope.
And I mean, again, do what you want, but I am hearing that there's a difference between the two different parts of it, right? So there's the, shared housing aspect and then there's the
Yeah.
small apartment aspect.
And I
You're
think
free
that's
to-
what,
You're free to expand upon the differences, how you feel about that.
I think that's what it is. The sharing of the common facilities.
You know
I
what?
think-
Actually,
Unit.
how about
Yeah,
this way?
actually,
We say-
I'm thinking exactly your way because he wasn't, sorry to point. You weren't able to respond in saying how many units will be sharing the kitchen and the bathroom. Is it 2 units? Is it 5 units? Is it 20 units? So I'm now moving towards Yelena.
Yeah, so voted, no, because you're gonna create overcrowding. Overcrowding, let's say,
Affordability.
Sanitary conditions.
Yeah, affordability, that is, I mean, we're gonna come, it's nice. Campus and field.
We Never
Yeah.
came up with a sentence.
We will,
You will.
we don't have to come
but
up
the main thing,
today.
we voted no, and then we can make it clarify as
So
to
make it
why.
Yeah, but we're not meeting again, so when are we going?
When
to
are we gonna
clarify?
Good point.
Why don't we, okay,
You're right.
I'm really sorry, okay, I'm really sorry to remind everybody how we work on the commercial part of it, economic part of it. Marian put her notes after the meeting and she sent it to everybody, if I'm not mistaken. And before, and everyone submitted comments, and before the board meeting, we had a final product. We cannot come up.
Where did we have the vote from committee?
No, we don't have vote, and we are not, and we are not,
How can I vote on what I don't know she's gonna come up with?
no.
No offense,
Michael,
Marion, it's not
Michael,
you.
It's
Michael,
mine.
Michael, we are not voting for each and every topic, we are voting for entire proposal. This is what city planning wants us to do. Okay, for example,
But we don't have to
neighboring, they don't have to do it.
Right,
Neighboring community board 15, okay?
I heard that. speech
We heard
before.
that,
I
Okay,
got that.
no, they had presentation, let me explain to you. They had presentation, they had committee meeting, and they voted for entire proposal without going,
Okay.
okay. But after they came up with, what?
This is.
So we decided to do, we decided to do.
This is 15. That's how they did it. They
Okay.
didn't even.
We are not supposed, we just answering, city planning request to give them more comments and let them something to work on. Also, we would need comments to be submitted to our elected officials, but it's not now, it's much later.
So this is for
That's-
our use, for us, so we can easily today test this. Because this document itself, like 1,000 pages. We can-
1,400 something pages.
I got it, I read. But if, my point remains, if we're gonna have a vote tonight,
For entire proposal
okay,
only.
okay.
I think Mike was asking for the exact, or some type of exact wording for that topic,
Well,
something that
we
would
can
give him an
put
idea.
these things together, kind of.
No, I'm talking about
All
that
right,
one, that's.
Which was the idea of this,
Oh.
which is the main item.
Don't snap at me, I'm just bringing back what
know.
he said. I know
It
everyone's
was
tired.
supposed to be,
Small and shared housing is a good idea if it connects to affordability, if it's affordable, if it goes through the process of being affordable.
So we do not support it because
As,
no,
as it is.
okay,
you know.
because no affordability plan was presented. That's it.
That's
That
it.
works.
There we go, there you got it out.
Wow.
Next.
repeat that again.
We got
One
one,
sentence.
we got one sentence,
What is the sentence?
because no affordability plan was presented.
We do not support because no affordability plan was presented. Now, was that what?
Wait, me.
Yeah.
You know what it is.
It's
Wait.
printed out.
Say it one more time.
Wait, me, no, wait, you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I know.
All right, campus infill. Make it easier to add new housing on large sites that have they're talking about a church. Is there anywhere in Brooklyn that has an oversized parking lot?
Right?
Pardon?
That's where the night.
Some village, I believe.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
night
we already-
into this category, but it's not the only kind.
Yeah.
Right, so there's other campuses that might have been built as like co-ops, you know, something like
That's right.
Mitchell.
Salam is.
Right.
Yeah, we have grass.
Flood zone.
Absolutely
We are
not.
if they're not allowed to sell air rights to flood zone, and they're.
It's only
and they're
night,
allowed.
but they still build on their parking lot.
I mean, how is in NYCHA, they're still the same people. People live in NYCHA, people live in Michelama, people live the same people.
So again, you're just taking parking away, I think you should just not support that part,
No,
and it's about taking parking away, let's move on.
green space parking and on and on.
We're talking about campus infill.
Exactly, it
See,
says,
not-
in oversized parking lots.
Right, so
Right.
I'm
We're gonna take
picturing,
oversized
no,
parking
I'm
lots away.
picturing a church.
Okay, let's
That
go with,
all the churches have
okay,
land around them.
correct,
The synagogues have land
Yes.
around them. All right, I think of my synagogue that has,
mm-hmm,
loads of land that could have houses.
Only if they wanna sell it to somebody,
Right,
okay? But it's not only applies to churches.
I know.
Right.
So it's absolutely not. Because it applies to NYCHA, it applies to co-ops, it applies to Michelama. So let's say if Warbus wants to make money, they need, okay? They're selling their parking lot and somebody will come and build. It's not gonna be Michelama, it's not gonna be addition to Michelama program, it's gonna be just one more high rises.
and
Taking
removal.
parking spots away and
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
We had a presentation from one of the Trump rentals on Ocean Parkway. And they were going to have parking for the residents that are losing the parking in a garage. Okay, and so on, so nobody was losing parking. And they were gonna take their parking lot and put another high rise there.
okay, great. We also had presentation on West Something Street for supportive housing, okay? And they're building on parking lot of somebody else. And they're providing parking only to the residents of somebody else, okay? not, and zero parking to new tenants.
Right.
Saying, we don't need parking because it's supportive housing. Wait a minute, it's not 100% supportive housing, it's only 60% supportive housing, and 40% of tenants are tenants up to 60%.
I got-
For the AMI.
Yeah, AMI, but they're not providing parking for them. So whatever we are being told, Michael, until we see it in stones with the stamp.
Yeah.
So as of now, it's absolutely to me.
Oh, thank you. Sugar.
One
hotel.
sentence, what do you feel it's not, it's one sentence?
Sugar.
Why? Well, it's
You
not,
don't need to be left there.
okay. Potentially taking parking green space, away,
Light air.
light airway. Yeah, let's not forget about shadows, okay?
These are my favorite ones, right?
Take two.
Whatever the.
I did not take two.
It's yours?
Okay.
When's your next meeting? I'll see.
Yeah. All right, so we got campus infill, I mean, some.
I get potentially removed, like,
Light,
And
green space and
and
parking.
green.
Okay, next.
Wait,
I don't agree.
No, wait, let's, if Michael, if I
I'm
ask you-
only one vote here.
Doesn't matter, doesn't matter.
Wait, we are not
I'm
voting
voting.
for it. We are not voting for
We're
it.
voting for the package.
We are voting for the
Okay.
package.
Okay, but still.
new
Maybe-
zoning.
Maybe guys one sentence to this, please, maybe just add a sentence.
What? Michael believes that it's not necessary we are losing whatever I say or whoever said we are losing. Because we had presentation and we might have 300 different presentations. Again, promises are promises. Money is money.
Yeah,
And even Siri told you, I mean, all of us, how expensive parking. Okay, and even if you build the parking and you charge $400 for parking per month, but if you build an apartment, instead of parking, you can have 3-4 times more.
But also,
I don't believe in people preserving parking. It might be the deal between you, your co-op, okay, and developer. That they are not taking parking, existing parking, they're giving back to you. But there is no deal, they're gonna provide parking, because look, they don't want parking requirements anymore, they don't want this, they don't want that. So there is no guarantee that new building built on your parking lot will have parking for their residents. And some of your residents, for example, they don't have parking. So they're looking for parking, around the corner, nearby street. So it's gonna be competition. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
but also if the complex has enough air rights, enough FAR, they can build a building there anyways.
No, not, they can build whatever they want, but allowing new building with all of those new requirements, we are building higher, wider, smaller apartments, a smaller space, whatever, with no parking. That's what we are facing now. Okay, next. New zoning, what do you mean by new zoning list?
So, we wanna, I knew I shouldn't have taken the candy. There's a trick. We want to expand the menu of different zoning districts that serve different places. We found that it was the same thing for economic opportunity. You remember, we made new zoning districts. We didn't map them anywhere. We're not gonna map any new zoning districts. We're just gonna add these to the menu, right? And some
For
of them are-
example,
For example, one of them is gonna be like a big, something that quite frankly I cannot foresee being mapped anywhere but Manhattan or maybe downtown Brooklyn, the R11 or R12 or something like that. If state law were to allow, because it does require that, right? If a state law were to allow an FAR higher than 12, right, which currently that's a state maximum, We want in Manhattan, in some places where it makes sense to, have that kind of zoning district.
Yeah, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
And we're not mapping any of those. If we're just expanding the menu, if anyone wanted to map those, it'd be full Euler, full rezoning. We're just expanding them in the
Okay,
menu.
but my issue, is with only one word in parentheses, citywide.
Yes,
So if you would present it, certain parts of Manhattan only or whatever, I can be careless. But since it's citywide as of now, and unfortunately, we have very bad experience with elected officials, and even though this community board that represents big community rejects Europe, and it's being, forced anyway, and approved by city council, so I'm saying no. whatever.
already one could map an R10 district as an application in Coney Island, right? If someone came to an R10 district, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but my assumption would be you guys would probably say it's a little bit much.
But giving bigger menu, when you have a very good and very big menu in a restaurant, you can eat too much.
So we need more specifics on new zoning district. We can't say yes to something we don't understand.
Don't
say no to
No,
more
that was very good.
Without more data or.
Need
No.
more specific.
More information on it.
More
Two
information.
zoning districts that are proposed, one's R61, which is a new mid-density district. And then, as David said, it would be a new R11 and a new R12.
What is R61?
So I think we have that here somewhere, right? R61. I have it on my phone. We don't have it in here. It would allow a density that's between kind of existing R6 and R7. So it could be a tool that may be appropriate in areas that already have R6 and R7s. It, we can give you the exact details.
Again, I do know that so much work was done, so many people worked on it, but I fought personally against downzoning of Brighton Beach to keep our states. Okay, I want people to be able to build. But the reason I love R6, okay, because it has at least 50% parking requirement. So again, I have nothing against new zoning if it's, but the whole proposal altogether, let me repeat what I said, higher, bigger, but no parking.
Okay.
Okay.
No good in my book.
But no
My
matter,
book.
no matter what, you're gonna need to go to the Euler process no matter what. So-
Yeah, if it's a new business,
So no, and,
more information.
Well, it's not a new building, it's a new district.
No new district.
Right, so in R61, R11, R12, if this passes as proposed, which, obviously modification they made. Your zoning today will be the zoning tomorrow.
Yeah.
There will not be any R11, there will not be any R12
R61.
or R61. If someone wants to propose that, they have to go through a rezone, which is,
Euro,
Yeah.
which we
So we're
cannot,
okay for now.
we okay for now.
Okay, next.
Update to mandatory inclusionary housing. When I read or hear mandatory inclusionary housing, I'm getting nauseous. I'm sorry.
one sentence.
And allow the deep, well, we can't write down Elena's getting nauseous.
No, I mean,
So the thing, there may be something that I would hope makes you less nauseous in that proposal, which is the deep affordability options, option 3.
Okay,
Right, that's what you see, you've seen them in rezonings here and elsewhere. What happens most of the time is that an applicant will come forward with the rezoning, when they rezone up zone, they need to add MIH option. Usually they map options 1 and 2, right? When it goes to city council has the opportunity, if they so choose, to add option 3, deep affordability, right, which is more affordable, deep affordability. But they have to pair that option 3, deep affordability, with another option that is not as deep. That's today, that's the status quo. What we want to do is give the opportunity for the city council to say, one option, deep affordability. You build here, it's gotta be deep affordability. So that's what's being proposed here. Currently, that's not allowed. Deep affordability has to be paired with something else. So I'm a developer. I could do the deep affordability, or I could do the other one that's not quite as
Yeah.
affordable.
okay,
This one is going to be, if the city council decides to do it, the city council could say, You come in as a developer, you have one option, you have to do the deep affordability option.
But it's also certain percentage, wait, a certain percentage of apartment.
Yeah.
Because what city is building right now, it's 100% affordable from 0, 20 and on and on. When we are talking about developers and market price, and let's not forget about the fact that if you increase, it's somewhere else, okay, but if you increase FAR and height, those apartments should be, so there is no number of apartments or percentage of apartments to be affordable.
No, for MIH, yes, there is.
How many?
What's option 3, do you know the percentage?
I think it's 20%.
I think it's 20%.
This thing, 20%. So 20% of apartments that should be affordable. But my concern, it has nothing to do with affordability. My concern for Coney Island,
But he's saying deep affordability, option 3.
you want more buildings? Okay, let's say 160 apartments. 160 apartments. How many affordable? 20%, 32? But do you need 160 apartment new building in Coney Island?
No, if they would say 50%.
No. Even if they say 100%, why are we talking about flood zone? Why are we talking about infrastructure? It's not community, Angela, okay? We can't do it. We cannot have more high rises in flood mandatory evacuation.
It's all
zones.
cumulative effects.
Okay.
It's all cumulative. You built here, you built here. You need the infrastructure, plain and simple.
Understood, that'll be in the recommendation and we'll read that loud and clear.
Okay,
But
exactly.
for the proposal that we were just talking about,
20%.
again, just to not conflate it.
Citywide, he's not saying just for us.
It's just, right, this is citywide and it's for MIH, right? This is in an area, maybe not Coney Island. Actually, probably not Coney Island in a lot of situations, but maybe not Coney Island, somewhere else where an upzoning makes sense, not in the flood area, something like that, where they have infrastructure. They could have the opportunity, the city council would, to require the deep affordability. So it doesn't change, it doesn't add more development. It just changes the options of development that would happen in upzone somewhere in the city. So that proposal by itself does not add more housing. What it does is make sure that, or give the city council the opportunity to say, hey, if you're a developer, that housing needs to be.
But it's not gonna change any of existing projects already approved. So we are talking about new housing. So we are going back to what I said. It might be the greatest program in the world, even if you're being pushed by so many comments to increase the percentage of affordable housing from 20 to 30 to 40, whatever. But in our area, we are talking about completely different situation.
We have a
We
flood
cannot,
zone.
we cannot afford it, that's it.
Right, but
For
this
us,
is
but this is
citywide.
No, but- Well,
Okay.
let's talk about green.
So let's support it, okay? Let's support it. And if it's citywide, it's gonna be brought to Coney Island. Let's support it. Where? What, Coney Island is not, or Brighton is not part of city of New York?
I'm saying, where are you gonna build mandatory, where are the,
All of those buildings built right now, built
but they're
under,
already built.
I can find you more spaces. You don't even know how many new buildings went up without community board approval, without anything. On west side, you don't even know how many new buildings were built. Next to NYCHA, on and on and on. Only we know people who visit this area. We know about few buildings built on First Avenue. 3 more buildings are coming up, or 2 West 24th
I
Street,
know they're building a Banco Popular on their parking lot.
okay?
Yeah, actually, look the map, this area is about 3 acres of land. 3 acres.
You have every opportunity to say, this is fine, not here.
Okay, this is not fine.
Do not have, I mean, to be honest about it, Lena Warner, that makes her nauseous.
Oh,
She gave us.
you want some candy?
No, I'm fine. I hear my
No,
own.
you can't hear.
No, I hear my own.
So, okay, let's.
But if, I'm just saying, and you can make your own decisions, I'm just saying, if we say no to this proposal, that means that in Manhattan, in Williamsburg, in a place that is not flood zone and anything like that, a developer would have the option to not build deeply.
No,
affordable.
it not depends on us. There are 51, 51, 51.
59.
No, I'm not talking about community board. I'm talking about members of city council who are making final decision with modification. So somebody from Bronx, somebody from Queens, somebody from, I mean, Staten Island and up in arms, but whatever, it's completely different situation. So they might need it and it might be worked out. But we represent our community. And we should vote on such proposal only representing our community. That's it.
So pretty much that Greenpoint make their own decisions, Williamsburg make their own decisions.
Okay.
We make-
If
No, it's okay.
there are few council members who will get comments from their community board. Let's say 10 of them, okay, or 15 of them. We don't like-
Bensonhurst was voting on the gaming rezoning. Why would they vote on
Okay,
gaming?
because it is citywide. Okay, so it's a city, Angel doesn't want this.
Okay.
Okay,
So
you can, when it comes to single URLA, it applies to such lot and block, correct? Okay.
yes.
When it comes to citywide, it affects entire city of New York. Okay, but we are community board 13, representing part of Grafton, Coney Island, and Brighton Beach. So our vote and our comments should come from community board 13 as representatives of such area. That's what I'm trying to explain. You said before, it's already overdeveloped.
It's well developed.
Okay, so
No, I
this is why I said in the beginning, this is all secondary. First and foremost,
Infrastructure.
first and foremost, flood zones with mandatory evacuation should be excluded from this proposal. But you decided to talk about it, let's talk about it.
We talked about it enough.
Um,
The sliver law,
Silver, yeah, I mean,
feet.
the sliver buildings, I love the sliver buildings in Manhattan.
R7, R10.
huh?
R7 and R10.
Yeah.
they only make them, they have to, those are very costly. Those little
So the
towers.
sliver doesn't necessarily only refer to those like tiny super talls as well. So it refers to other zoning lots where they're unique shapes basically of the lot. They've got regulations that basically don't allow them to actually build to their FAR or something like that. Because of kind of some of those sliver laws. And so what we want to modify is to say, you're allowed this FAR, let's make it so you can actually. use it.
Yeah, it's slivers, slivers.
And-
A
and,
sliver,
yeah.
I thought I'd see silver.
Getting late.
I don't know. Do we
Okay,
have this
I thought we
debate in
said-
R7 or
We
R10?
have our seven,
R7,
we have another R7.
And don't forget one very important thing, it can be R7 tomorrow, and then what's gonna happen tomorrow in the future, in 10 years, in 5 years?
No.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe R6 will become God knows what in 10 years, who knows?
Again, somebody comes to,
Beautiful, beautiful presentation.
somebody comes, let's say in Bungalow area in Brighton, saying, I wanna build so and so, it's R7. City
Yeah,
plan,
we
wait,
have that.
city planning would say, no. We are not rezoning this tiny lot. We are rezoning entire block
Corner to
or
corner.
even two, so,
I guess we don't support it.
okay, good.
And the reason is because it's crazy. No.
Yeah, you can write it because Irina knows us.
No, what would you, the reason why in one sentence?
We think it's
We
a
don't want
ridiculous
to-
proposal for
No.
Coney Island.
Yeah, because
It's not good for CB
not-
13.
It's not good for CB 13, okay?
That's it. It's just not
Yeah,
viable
We
in
increase
CB
density of
13.
Huh?
population, we increase density of population.
I know,
Well,
we're
if
all getting
people-
tired.
I
But
know.
We
okay,
got
so you need-
3
all right.
more,
3 more, actually,
3 more.
and those are pretty simple. Yep.
Quality housing amenity changes.
means.
So what is quality housing amenity changes?
So,
Oh,
Two sections.
indoor recreational space.
right, so two different types of developments you could build in a non-contextual district, the ones without the letters at the end, right? You could build either a quality housing building, or you could build what we call a height factor.
Height factor.
building. Right, exactly. So if it has the letter suffix at the end, it's contextual, has to be quality housing, right? So it kind of gives you an idea of what's there. What's also in quality housing, in addition to height limits and things like that, that have to make sure that it kind of fits within the context, hence contextual housing, are also quality housing amenities, right? So, trash storage disposal, indoor rec space, making sure that there's mail rooms in certain situations, all that kind of stuff. And so we want to extend what is included in the quality housing, program right now to all multifamily buildings to make sure basically they all have kind of.
That sounds good.
Well, trash storage pretty much is, I believe it's, if it's more than 10 families or something, you gotta, I think that's.
Yeah.
I think that's required. Mailroom, I assume that's pretty much required anyways. People do it
Yeah,
regarding recreational space, how many
I
square
mean,
feet?
office
I mean,
space is kind of strange. I mean.
how many square feet can be office space?
What is the office
200,
space?
300, 500 square feet, or what's considered
Where do you
It
say
could be a
office space?
community room.
It's the last slide,
office space, office?
next to city, before
Yeah.
city line.
It's more amenities, I guess, in the buildings.
Yeah.
I guess for Melbourne, they want to have more like.
So now, so now, so
But-
now bike storage would be mandatory for each and every building.
It's very much mandatory right now, bike storage, already, I see that.
Oh,
Why?
Not many.
Is it?
Not mandatory, really?
No, no.
There's
No,
no bikes,
no.
It's not mandatory?
No.
not mandatory, it's like allowed over 10 units.
Parking, but not storage, maybe some parking for bicycles.
But notice you change also the height factor from R6 narrow. No, usually, I believe R6 quality housing 45 feet and setback 10 feet and elevation.
No, they don't wanna sit back, they wanna hire, they wanna,
Yeah, so
It's
from,
all- it's all-
yeah.
I
But-
mean, why do we want to regulate quality housing amenities? I mean,
No, it's
Not,
not,
it's further, discounting floor area for those amenities to make it more, attractive to
Oh,
not have to
so
eat into
you-
your floor area to provide them.
it's like a bonus, it doesn't cut the floor area.
yeah,
to
it's a
provide.
bonus.
Oh, so wait,
So that's good.
but that can be tricky.
Anything can be.
Of course, it can be tricky.
What is indoor recreational space? How many square feet you gonna allow to be extra?
A gym or just community room?
Office space, how many square feet you allow this or?
Nobody
So
knows.
that's an amenity that, from my understanding, is up to the decision of the developer, right?
The
So
office space, right?
Any of it, right? So, but.
Recreational.
What it does.
I don't know, because we
basically-
can apartment.
What it does right now is in some multifamily buildings, when you build these amenities, right, like office space, recreational space, trash storage, mailroom, things like that, it counts towards the floor area, right, which means less, it's a
Less
zero sum
height.
game, right, less
Oh.
area for actual apartments and units. What we want to do is kind of discount some of that so that we're allowed to actually build apartments and also have amenities if the developer.
All of these deductions exist today in quality housing. It's just applying it to our non-quality housing buildings.
Okay, how does it help affordable housing?
Nothing,
By-
it has nothing to do
By
with it.
adding more units, right? Because right now, let's make it simple, right? Here's the floor, I'm allowed to build up to here,
Mhm.
right? Okay, well, I want to provide amenities, I want to provide the office space, mailroom, stuff like that. Well, right now I can build all this housing, but the amenities means
That's
right now I can
possible.
build this much housing.
I see. You want to make sure that we're still seeing amenities in
I
buildings.
see, so
Yeah.
by building more units, not affordable units, by just saying by saturating
More
market
space.
with more
Getting-
units,
Huh?
they become
Getting-
eventually.
Of course
they
not.
become less
I think
expensive.
like less of a trade-off between amenities and more.
I have a reason
Yeah.
to say no.
I don't know.
I guess it's pretty much gives the tenants more like, more amenities, higher rents, this is pretty much more for luxury developments. We have more like.
It allows developer.
Indoor
to build
recreation, can it be a
more
pool,
To
can be a
build
spa
more
in there?
by giving this.
By,
Okay,
by,
it allows to
by
build more.
deducting this area, they
Yeah.
allowed to build more, that's it. So the question is, do we want them to build more? And deduct
it
some
matter?
of the area that is.
They
If you
just
look-
put up a
if you-
new building that has a swimming pool in it.
Yes, but if you go to all of
Swimming
those new
pool.
buildings, because of all of those amenities people choose, they claim that people choose. pool, recreation room, whatever.
Right, one bedroom,
Apartments are very small,
700,000.
you know, I mean, it's the same,
Oh,
I
still
still,
the same
I still
scope.
don't see affordability in it,
but it's not part of it.
I got. It's not part of that.
It
So we
might
don't
be
support it?
Indirect,
It
indirect.
it might be part of it if the same building being built higher and wider, so 20% should be provided for affordable housing, that's it.
But it's not.
What do you mean it's not? It's up to developer. Whatever, it's different parts of one program, of one goal.
Mhm.
Build more housing.
Okay.
So if you wanna build more housing, you're using a bigger FAR and high, you know, and it's higher. So
Right.
if you're using within certain zoning, bigger FAR and higher, let's say you're
And
building
you
more
deduct
apartments.
some more to the
You're
community.
building more apartments, so
Yeah.
in some cases, those apartments should be affordable up to 60% of area median income. Very simple. It can be all in one.
Mhm.
Okay, next.
No, but, so how do we,
Which way did we go with this? We're not supporting it.
not support?
We're
Okay,
not,
no,
or we
okay, no,
are
no.
supporting it.
Where is my one way?
No, I don't think.
Because,
Plus it
Because-
would benefit,
benefit, what?
it would benefit
I
the
don't see it
developer, but
direct
also
effort.
benefit the tenants of the new building.
It will benefit, that's why you're not supporting?
I'm supporting it.
Oh, support,
Unfortunate because.
Yeah, all right. I think it would benefit two people. Or two groups of people. Maybe.
maybe not support, because we don't have more affordability, talk about affordability here.
But it has nothing to do with it.
Okay, not.
It has nothing to do with affordability.
It's
They're
completely
giving,
different
they're
part
giving
of the
amenities.
proposal. It has nothing to do with affordability. It has to do with amenities and beauty.
I mean,
Right.
the whole proposal is about affordability,
Okay,
but it relies upon mountains of evidence that show that supply, even of market rate units, will moderate and bring down rents, right? That's why certain parts have mandates for affordability, right? The UAPs, and certainly don't, right? But what we found in several other cities, even in New York itself, is that market rate units, the supply of housing, can bring down rents.
do you remember Everett
Yes,
and down? In good.
That's,
No, I'm a foreigner. English is not my first language. So, you know, yeah, I don't know the history.
That's my opinion.
Right.
So what is the conclusion? Because, so what you writing there, Marion? please?
I wrote this would allow more units and let it go higher. That's all. This is my
It's not
notes.
gonna, it has nothing to do with number of units or height. It's some
But I
kind
think
of,
it would benefit.
okay, it's some kind of provisions inside the building. It has nothing to do with high or FAR.
Well, it'd be adding amenities to the building, but would
Okay.
allow them to build it higher. because
No.
they- Yes,
Yeah,
that's what he said.
To echo what Lorenzo said, it eliminates the fact that in these non-quality housing buildings, right now, there's a trade-off. It's a zero-sum game. The FARs, the heights, everything like that, that's not part of this proposal right here. Right now, if I want to build amenities, I gotta take away floor area for actual apartments that people live in. What this does is say, okay, you don't have to eliminate that, you could still build. The height limits, the FARs, that stays the same.
Mm.
But it's right now a zero-sum game. And we want to eliminate that so that people could provide amenities and also provide units.
And again, these regulations exist in zoning today, but for a certain type of building. So it applying to all the new multifamily
Yeah.
building typologies.
Okay,
I
next.
guess I'm too tired. So what are we doing with
So what
this?
is that?
We think it's a good idea? That buildings supply amenities, certain amenities to tenants? and the developer eats the apartments that are not being built.
Okay, it's not mandatory anyway, it's optional.
It's optional.
So developers are not gonna be told, you know, in order to build so and so number of apartments, you have to provide. Grade this, grade this, grade that, it's up to developer. And it's gonna affect price of
Yeah.
apartment.
Well, of course.
Because if you have a
There's the
pool, they're
affordability.
paying for it.
There's the
One
affordability.
bedroom,
You know,
700,000 K.
So,
Yeah.
what do we write about
No, I
this?
Do we agree with this, that it could be,
Uh,
oh, come on, Yelena.
I gotta count how many
There's-
yeses.
there's-
It's
There's
not-
actually no
It's,
downside.
it's not
There's no
downside. it's
downside.
not-
But you
So-
just said a
Listen,
downsize.
you
You
get-
just said it's gonna increase more of.
No, no, no,
Rent.
it's gonna
No.
increase rent.
Oh,
But
right,
that's not
and then
what we
again,
have.
if you're going to, if you're speaking about the whole thing about affordable,
Okay,
goes
but
out the
Yes,
window.
but this.
But in the same building, certain types of the same proposals gonna be used. So they can build this and this, and at the same time, they can build under this proposal, being part of whatever program you call it, they can build higher and wider. And provide all of extra apartments gonna be so-called affordable. So it's kind of combination, it's not standalone.
And don't get stuck on the fact that we're talking about a pool. We could be talking about something like a community room
Yes.
or a meeting
Yes.
So
space.
there's no
Yeah.
and
downside,
things like that, so.
but it's not helping, but
Ping
it's no
pong,
downside.
billiards, everything.
So basically, there's no downside to
Right.
this.
As
If
more
it
people
hurts
gain,
anybody, it's gonna hurt the developer, which
No,
really
it's not,
won't.
it's gonna help.
He's gonna make more money.
It's gonna help the
Gonna help a
developer.
lot.
a lot.
Okay, landmark transferable
With this one,
development rights.
from my
This one,
understanding,
yeah,
air rights can be sold either the entire block or across the street.
right. So that means that Dennis can sell the air rights from the Wonder Wheel.
I believe it has to be landmark.
The Wonder Wheel is landmarked. I worked
It
for
pretty
them.
much is the, except for Manhattan, Fifth Avenue is a big church in there. They have,
Boardwalk
they have
is
a lot of
open.
air rights.
They lost. No, they
Says
did.
citywide,
Citywide, correct.
so we are not taking risk, okay?
We're not taking risk. No,
Right.
We also have,
yeah,
we have some old church, for example, okay? And somebody would say, you know what, it's 100 years or 200 years old building, I wanna apply for a landmark status, okay? So also we have landmark, saying empty. Ah,
we have
Is
landmark.
Is landmark or no?
The
Yeah,
short
it's-
theater is landmarked. The old
Nathan's
child's
landmark?
building, what?
Can
Yeah,
they?
the old child's building in landmark.
Nathan's could probably be landmark too. If somebody makes a proposal.
No, only.
It's whether it could be or not, doesn't matter, right?
I
now.
worked for them. It could be. You make it, the boardwalk is a landmark.
But it's kind of landmark.
well, it's gotta be.
No, it's
It
a
has-
landmark.
It has to have.
But it doesn't have in their provision that they have to have wooden boardwalk.
But the landmark commission doesn't concern themselves with that. They only concern themselves if it's historically
It's a
significant to the
different
city.
committee.
It's a whole different thing.
So that's all legitimate and fine and well, for this proposal, what we're talking about here. It's really, again, just for the sake of simplicity,
Whatever you wanna call
you
it.
know, picture, I don't know, the most classic case is Grand Central, right? Like something like that. There's a landmark there, if it were a private development that was not landmark, they'd be able to build this big, but it's landmark, so it's
Right.
here. You got all
What
this.
I'm gonna
extra
do
space.
it tomorrow on the phone with Sam.
Yeah, what it does, it's like.
I know
If
this
you have a
is-
landmark building, you can transfer your.
What are we
area
looking
for you, adjacent
Right.
property,
Right.
this would expand the radius.
That's all it said.
Slightly.
Yes,
So you could transfer
I think
the
it's
air
that
rights
it-
from
Half
the-
a mile,
And,
All right,
the Counter,
look.
counter corner.
Yeah, so,
My
so
scribble.
right now, it's you're only
How
allowed
many
to
yes
transfer
and how many no?
So right now, you're only allowed to transfer it to adjacent properties or directly across the street.
Mhm.
This would allow you to transfer it to anywhere on the block or across the street from the block
Gives more rights.
and simplify the process of it slightly, depending on whether you need bulk modifications or something like that. If you don't need
Selling
bulk
market.
modifications, makes it easy. Pardon?
I said, it's about selling, you know, I'm saying it's very simple, selling the rights, the air rights,
Yeah.
from one to other, but again, it's about someone making money.
from this or no?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So the child's restaurant not can sell air rights to somebody on its.
Too late, they're already building some, their parking lot.
They're already
Somebody is
building
building,
something.
yeah, so too late. Unless they.
Gotta go, my Uber's here. I'll be right down.
Okay.
The Shore Theater?
I mean, so. What do you recommend? I mean, listen,
What do I
if it's
recommend?
adjacent to the line.
Hey, look,
If it's
air-
adjacent,
air
or
rights
Julio's
is the-
adjacent,
wait
they
a
could do
minute.
that anyways.
Air rights is the only thing in the world that you're selling because you didn't use it, right?
And you wanna
And you
make
didn't
money.
want it,
And you make money.
and you make money,
Correct.
and you're not hurting anybody.
You are, because then someone
Fifth
can
Avenue
block
Church,
something
What do you
else.
mean you're not
What do you
hurting?
mean?
How are you hurting
You can block
anybody?
Someone else's view.
So
for
let's
something
say,
else.
okay, I'm giving you an example. How Rybak was able to build his building
Adjacent synagogue.
because synagogue sold their air rights, okay? So, and if his plan, his original plan was really modified by land use in City Hall. I went there with Chaim, not once, not twice. Otherwise, it would be much worse because the original plan included those nearby four-story buildings that they wanted to build up. So how it's going to affect us?
The post office, by Madison Square Garden, is a landmark, the post office. The big-
I believe,
The
yes.
post office on Eighth Avenue is huge, the entire block.
Yeah.
You know,
But nothing to do with us.
So,
No,
nothing to
but-
do with us, we don't have any historic districts
I
in
don't
our
know.
community, which would be much better, landmark.
Landmark is slightly different from that historic district.
Okay,
So what do you think?
Let's finish with it.
Landmark, what do you think? Yes, no, or what do you think about? landmark?
Where it's not in this summary, somewhere in your proposal, you have provision about converting community facilities.
Converting,
Where is it?
it's the same, under the same proposal, converting the office building, right? So converting non-residential buildings, that also includes community facilities. Anything, right?
this
could
is-
be a
So
church.
we're not
So-
in favor of
so-
landmark
I
transfer
was
for
right,
development
okay.
rights? You're not in favor of transfer
Here's
for-
what I'm saying.
because everybody listens to you, Elaine.
Okay, I'm not in favor of any.
And why?
Why? That's the hard part.
If we are representing our community, we can use the same sentiment that it will increase, but it will allow more development in flood zone, blah, blah, blah.
That's
That's
the first sentence.
Yeah, that's your first sentence though, but we don't have
That's
any.
it.
That's it.
That's
It's a
it.
flood zone.
It will allow more development in flood zones.
No, that's it. Railroad,
Railroad do not.
Well, that doesn't apply to us, but
yeah,
So we don't
it
have
does
to,
apply
but we doesn't have to comment.
And a-
to the city.
So that, yeah, there's this weird antiquated rules about if you're building basically adjacent to rail or above rail.
Right.
or
By the
something
train,
like that.
but right here?
The train?
No, not like a subway, it's usually
No,
like
it's like the High Line.
freight.
in Manhattan.
Highline,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like
usually
The
freight,
Hudson
right,
Yards.
right. So there's really complicated processes for it. There's some places that, would be a fine place for housing that meets the context, but it's an expensive process. And what we want to do is simplify where you have to apply for this kind of authorization from the planning commission if if it's a smaller lot. If it's a bigger one, you have to apply for a more serious one. Right now, it's like kind of a headache across the board. So we have a lot of issues. Actually, thinking of two projects that are nonprofit housing. They're trying to build affordable housing and they basically they're getting funding from HPD to build that, and HPD is essentially paying us because the process is so expensive and complicated.
Alright, so that's
So we don't
Doesn't-
care about it.
We don't
Doesn't-
care.
NA.
NA.
Okay, is that it?
So now we have to vote for, we have to take votes for entire
One,
proposal.
2, 3,
Okay.
No, we should vote on purpose.
Yeah, once.
I'm counting non-support. One,
Was down the sugar factory also on that? There wasn't on that.
Good question. Lorenza, do you know?
The sign.
Domino is a landmark, no?
No,
Uh,
it's
one.
the way it is. No, no.
Oh, the sign.
The sign
You kept-
was just like. the
Everybody
Pepsi
kept
sign,
talking, right?
The Pepsi Cola sign in.
Allow
LLC.
buildings
So
to
they
add
had to
20%
move
more
it.
of the additional homes of permanent. effect.
It's
Keep it
not,
the way it is.
Yeah. it's
Since the
not
comment
big
says
and
keep
the
it the way it
national,
is,
it's not
we
a
don't
city.
support it.
okay,
That's why I said I gotta go over this.
okay, so let's finally vote for entire
1,
proposal.
2, 3,
Oh, wait.
I think we.
Sam, do me a favor, count how many there are.
Let me count from yours.
No,
Yes,
how many?
no.
No, I
no?
already did that.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Someone doesn't schedule.
6, 7, 8, 9,
That's in the night.
10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15.
All right,
correct?
out of, all right, 4,
1, 2, 3.
5, 9. We have 9 not supports out of 15.
So 15, none of them said
No,
no.
one we have from 15, we have one in A. So let's count from 9 from
5
14.
yeses.
Some, if it doesn't apply to us, why do we have to count?
All right, so then it's. There's only one NA.
Okay, so you said
So-
15,
So it's
I'm
14.
saying
So
14,
it's 14,
so we have 9 no.
9 no's, which means we're basically against the proposal.
Right,
With recommendation.
with
With
recommendation.
recommendation.
So make a motion, somebody will.
I second it.
Who made it?
Nobody
Mary-
made it yet.
Nobody
Make
made
the
it.
motion.
Okay,
Okay.
Community Board 13. After a wonderful discussion lasting many days, decided that they overall do not want to support the city.
No, no,
That's
no,
motion.
Marion, it has to
That's
be a
not the
positive
motion,
vote.
you're writing a long letter.
You have to
city
write a
planning.
positive motion.
Okay, you're gonna make a motion,
Not in this case, in this.
Not in this
we have
case,
an
though.
option To make the,
negative motion, so community board 13.
Yeah.
Does not support the city of yes housing tax, that's it.
Okay,
Right,
and you put down the vote
And after we're
The
gonna
count.
put all of this long.
And the reason,
Yeah,
Yes,
long
and the
letter.
count,
with the reasons.
okay,
which will be part of the motion.
yes.
okay,
Yeah, if I ever get any sleep, all right?
all right. Second,
First then.
Does
Marion.
anybody object?
Marion?
Yeah, of course, right, but Yelena actually did it.
No, it's Marion.
Okay.
Oh.
So we're gonna read the.
Look,
Call-
if
call the
Mike
vote.
Silverland second, I would say Yelena did it, but you know what? He's my
So,
greatest partner.
Marion Cleaver.
Yes.
What?
What?
Yes.
Oh,
on the vote.
yes,
In
yes,
favor?
I do not support it, yeah,
Opposed.
No,
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 we have
I'm voting
negative
yes.
motion.
Yes.
it's a negative motion, I'm voting yes.
Or in favor?
I'm in favor of not supporting it.
right,
Okay. Shimon Rukowski.
Yes.
Good
Angela
job.
Stefchenko.
Yes.
What are you doing tomorrow?
Elena Machman.
Yes.
I'm with you to finish it off.
Mike,
Okay.
Jeffrey Sanoff.
yes,
Michael Silvery.
yes,
Six yes.
Mazel tov and Simon tov, okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah, mo-
yeah.
Said
Angela,
hearing no objection,
Angela. Right on.
it adjourned at,
Oh,
Okay.
real
my
quick thing,
God. Are you-
just to give you, on the new business, but
Wait.
that, you have to put it in there.
What?
At 773 Neptune Avenue, they're coming before us for, what do you call, a presentation at the general board meeting to let us know that there's gonna be a charter school going into that building.
What building?
Right back, right back building, 773 Neptune. Up by Shell Road, that new building on Shell Road. We don't know yet. They're gonna present it, but they don't need us to go on. They're going in. They just gotta let us know that
The
they're
new
going.
building that's under
Yes.
construction?
Yes, right now.
Yes.
But it won't be until next year.
They're,
anyway.
they're,
Across
Right.
McDonald's?
I'll clarify,
Yeah.
yeah.
across from the
Four
top.
stories.
Right,
Yeah,
they're,
4-story.
they're requesting a certification.
Yes,
Cause in Ocean Parkway Special District right
Yeah.
now, if you wanna build a community facility such as a
Yeah.
school, you actually can't use the community facility FAR and the underlying zoning. district.
Huh.
Cause
So-
the Special Ocean Parkway
Thank you.
says, you're limited actually
Yeah.
to the residential, which is lower.
Yeah.
What they say is, well, we wanna use the
Mm.
community facility FAR of the underlying district, which requires a certification. So that's why they're coming.
Yeah,
So
four
they're
stories.
not coming to
Four
us,
stories.
if it requires
The-
certification,
Residential,
they're not coming to us just to
Not
present it.
Jeff, it's within the building.
Yeah, it's within the building.
Oh, okay.
They'll have
They're
drawings.
just letting us know.
yeah.
No,
The
if
high
it's
school.
certification.
I mean, is there anything wrong with it? Because they were done it anyway.
Correct.
Okay. and what do
Right,
you
because
need
if,
from
like you
your
said,
board?
because we're in the Ocean Parkway,
I mean, it's,
that was it.
it's a,
special zone.
it could be a reference or your position on it, and then we can take that back to the city planning commission.
I understand.
So
If you want, yeah, okay, if you want to, if you
So-
want to. okay.
Issue.
Wait a minute, so it
Okay.
requires votes, it just not.
No, see, he doesn't. It's not in Europe, it's not in Europe.
Yeah. So it doesn't.
Issue a recommendation though.
Okay,
It
but
doesn't-
we cannot issue, sorry, we cannot issue recommendation on
Is the,
behalf of
we
community
closed the
board
meeting, the owl's off.
without asking community board.
We'll talk about
That's
that.
what I'm talking about, am I
It's
right?
not a requirement,
Yeah.
but.
See.
Night, everybody.
have
Thank you.
opinions.